Welcome guys, welcome. This is going to be Distant Worlds 2. We're going to be doing a bit of a playthrough. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So what I think we'll do is we'll just get started and work our way through. I just want to make doubly sure that we are recording, if you don't mind. Let's have a look in here, do a refresh. Here we are. Yep, we're okay, I think. Hang on. Are we live? Are we live? Yes, we are. Good. Okay, with no views. That's fine. It's unscheduled, and we just started. So anyway, if you are watching this, for the no viewers that are here, welcome. And for if you're watching this later on, welcome as well. As people do come in, please ask questions. Actually, I should wait until people do come in to say that. But anyway, let's continue. Let's start a game and just work our way through it. So, start a new game. 1,000 stars. We don't. I mean, I don't have to. I always just stay here. I was thinking of playing a clusters game. I sort of had set one up that I was thinking, I wouldn't mind playing something a bit like this, but then it could even just be that we play random. Hi Rogue, how you going? Just picked up this game thanks to you yesterday, but I'm ready to get into it. Yeah, it's a game it's an incredible game, and I'm actually thinking of playing it, letting the AI play for a portion of time. Yeah, can't complain about the huge sale though. Yeah, it's really, really cool. So I'm just trying to think of the best way of doing this. Do we play with clusters, or do we play with irregular, which just basically means that you've got all the stars are then sort of evenly spread out. Clusters make it so that you've really got to invade to take over other clusters. I think I'll play clusters. I'll play with the varied clusters back in through here, and we'll play with just a normal number of nebulas as well, which are sort of like the choke points through space. So I'll do it that way. I think that way there will be sort of natural choke points that we have to then sort of deal with. Hi Matthew, how you going? Would you recommend Distant Worlds 2 for a beginner to Space 4X, or is there a better option? That's a really good question. Actually, it's sort of one of these things. If you like the simulation side, and I'm thinking of actually playing just the simulation for a period of time, maybe for even half an hour, just so you can see what happens if you do nothing at all. And because it's a very forgiving game, Distant Worlds 2, but believe it or not, it's very, very complex, very, very detailed. But it is not. But it is not actually a game that you have to be playing all the time. You can just sit back and watch it. So it's sort of one of those things. If you like simulations, then this is great. If you want a gaming type game where you actually get involved and do things, I would probably suggest like the other games, a more gamey type Space 4X. This is very much a real sort of type simulation. So Mr. Genetica is saying great game, have fun with it, thank you. And Wolverine is saying bonjour Daz, always good to see Distant Worlds on your live. I love playing this game. Like I really can play it at any time. I just really, really enjoy it. We'll also go galaxy size of just 8x8, I think. If I go 10x10, it really does push it out. Do we do that? Make it even more. Make it even more spread out. Why not? Let's play 1,000 stars with normal nebula density and 10x10 sectors, so a very, very large galaxy. It's not going to impact really all it's going to do is impact the size between clusters. Is going to make that aspect fairly interesting. Okay, we'll go to galaxy settings next. Now I'm thinking of playing. I think I'll play on a like I've got young, where empires have 2 to 4 colonies, and if you've explored the nearby systems, this is a good start if you just want to get into the middle of the game. So I think I'll do that one. Tech level 1 is where they have to start with this one through here. Galaxy aggression, I'm going to keep it on unstable, I think. You can still befriend. Maybe we'll go to restless. Let's go to restless. That way at least we're going to have some friends, depending on who we're playing. And so that's now becomes much more important with this DLC. Hi Viren Games, how you going? Rogue is saying I'm going to watch your vids on Distant Worlds 2, but if you want to a chill game, that would be what would you choose? Like galaxy size, etc. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's the Yeah, if you just want to, if you like, well, one thing you would do is not put hostile races near the player. Just make sure that's on normal. This is actually probably the biggest of the difficulty settings back and through here. Difficulty itself is like it affects your rates, but you really like. I enjoy playing it on normal, where at least I'm playing on the same playing field as the AI in that sense, but then I change things up, like make the aggression reckless, make the hostile races near the player some or some more. Let's do some more, just so we end up with a few aggressive ones. But that plays a big role in terms of because it's a lot of it's just random who you got next to you as a neighbour. That's a fairly big one. I'll show you another thing at the back end of this setup that you can do to help to make that a bit easier for yourself. The research speed, I'm just going to keep it on normal. A lot of players really like playing it on very slow, so that's a very popular setting for people to play on, where the research goes extremely slowly, which means you then have to rely very heavily on your spies to try to equalize, ambassadors, like making friends with other factions to trade, like we've got to allow tech trading on. It's you've got to be very high up in terms of their appreciation of you, the enemy's appreciate, or the allies, the aliens' appreciation of you, to then be able to do the tech trading effectively. But you can still steal it if you've got good spy networks and things. So good spying factions will be able to sort of pick up tech, but I'll keep it on normal. I'm only going to have only the next projects visible, even though there's the tree is enormous. If you put this on, it can be overwhelming if you're a new player. So I would sort of leave that one off. So Rogue is saying, I really like slow progression normally in these types of games. Yeah, I'm the same, but I'm going to put it on normal because when you start beyond pre-warp, when you actually start sort of like further along, you find that the research is extremely slow for a large portion of the game until you sort of get into the mid-game. And so normal is very slow anyway, to be honest. Like it'll take maybe 20 years to do the first tech with this start that we're doing. After that, it starts to speed up as you start to get your research bases and things set up. But initially, it's a very slow start anyway, no matter which one you choose. Let's go to threats. These are pirates. I'm going to go many with strong average proximity to the players, but stay dead when they've been destroyed. So they'll be a real threat in the early part of the game. And then we've got space creatures. We've got a few in through here as well. So we've just got a few of them. Colonization. We'll go colony prevalence normal. Yeah, these are just this is sort of like how good the planets will be around, like and this has been nerfed backwards a lot, so that they've actually retweaked the algorithms for how planets are generated to make it so that there's less colonizable planets in the game now than what there used to be, particularly for races that found it very easy, like the sandy desert ones. Their suitability has been dropped a little bit, or like the algorithm of how they're built has been dropped, so there would be less suitable planets now than what there was before. Independent colonies, so in this case I'm just going to keep that on normal, so there will be some independence around the place. Colony influence range, now this is the borders. It's sort of almost like I almost wish the word influence was out of there, and it sort of is still borders, but that's how far out the borders go from the population centres, and that's actually how borders are calculated. They're not calculated based on what you've been able to claim with mining bases or anything like that. It's all to do with the population and development of your different colonies, and that's what pushes the borders out. Colonization range limit. I'm going to ramp this. I'm going to not like the default is 300. When you're playing your first games, keep it at 300. I like to bring it down. I'll bring it to 150, which means that I can colonize anything within 150 m, which is the measurement in the actual game itself. I don't know what the M is for, but anyway, I think sometimes people say parsecs, sometimes it's other things. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Anyway, we'll just go there. Variant Games is saying usually play on pre-warp and slow or very slow research. I'm looking forward to try the refugee start. Is there any bonus about it though? There's no bonus. There's only negatives about there sort of is. The refugee start is, and I did that on the Slytherin channel yesterday. So I wasn't going to do that today. I was going to actually just do a normal start If you're a new player, you don't want to be playing the refugee start. But if you're experienced, you just have to micromanage everything for a little bit of period of time, which is not overwhelming. You're only really managing some scout ships and colony ship essentially, and a small fleet, and that's pretty much it. It's very much like a Battlestar Galactica type start. Well, we'll get to that pretty quickly actually. Our race, we could play random. The only ones I don't really like playing, and I probably will play them when they get fleshed out properly, is the Harkonish, the Teekans, and the Xenoxes. I don't really like playing those three. I don't care any of the others. I will happily play any of the others. So maybe we'll leave it on random and see what we get. And if we end up with one of those other three, I'll play something different. If you are new to the game, humans will give you probably the best understanding of how to play the game. Actarians are a good choice for a new player as well. But yeah, they all just play very, very differently, and we'll go through how to check all that out. Next is your empire. Now this is actually the one that you can actually go to government and choose a refugee start. If you are going to be choosing a refugee start, the next screen over is how the fleet is then composed. So the basic fleet is just 2 frigates, 2 destroyers, a fuel tanker, 1 colony ship, 2 exploration ship, 2 passenger ships, which have got more people to offload, 1 mining ship, and 3 small freighters. And so that's sort of really what you start with. And the military one adds a cruiser to the mix. So it's pretty much the same thing, but except with a cruiser. Then we've got exploration. This one actually adds in 2 extra exploration ships and 1 extra colony ship. That's probably the easiest of the starts, to be honest, of playing this way with the refugee fleet. And then you've got resource start, where you end up with extra mining ships and freighters, and you also get some medium freighters, but you don't really get to use those, so that's not really an important start at all. You also have to choose a tech level between 1, 2, and 3. The default is 2, and in this instance, so you do want to be starting ahead of the rest of the galaxy a little bit if you can, just to make it so that you've got a little bit, because you'll be behind for a long period at the start. Anyway, we're not going to be playing that one. We're going to go back to the other one. I'm just going to go, if I go allowed any, then allowed by race, and it'll then just have like the limitation of what we're going to actually have. So you can see I don't have anything else in through there. I'll just leave it on none, which means that the game will then pick that for me. Just go to our situation in through here. Now we're going to be playing, if I go trying, I'm just wondering whether I go normal or trying. This also is a big factor in how the game plays for you. If you end up with a trying system or a harsh system, like either of these, it can make the game extremely difficult. I think I'll just go normal. This is how many, this is your home system. Normal will give you all of the resources that you need inside your home system, which means you can defend it. If you go to trying, you'll be missing some, and then you have to find them in the galaxy. I don't mind which one we play out of those two, to be honest. I might play it on trying, and but I've got an idea of how we're going to play this anyway. We'll go young, so we'll end up with 2 to 4, or we could start with starting. So we end up with a single colony and no ships or bases. This would then, if we go normal starting, and then level 1. So we've got the same tech level as the AI, with only 1 colony, but we haven't done any exploring yet. That might be an interesting start. Let's do that, and then we'll, because I do have an idea of how we might play this game. Starting location will just be random, and I've been thinking about how new players approach games, and I think the start is actually an interesting way to play the game, and if I haven't seen it done before, so this will be the first, I think. Let's just go to other empires. This is where you can also then change things. If you are playing as like a human player, and you want to sort of make sure that you've got someone friendly nearby, if you're starting off, you can turn the starting empires on and then add an empire and put them into the, so that their proximity to you is close. You can even, like, if let's just say we were playing as the humans, we could then go and say, okay, let's grab another human faction, and we'll get their technology also level 1. They can just be a single entity. Their proximity will be nearby. The government will be whatever we want it to be. Like, it could end up being like a democracy, because that's quite often what the humans will end up being. The home system will be normal, and the relation, we can actually have all sorts of different things. So we can actually just say, okay, well, let's actually let's just say that we've got a restricted trade agreement with them right from the very, very start. That's how you could set up something to make it a little bit easier if you were playing as the humans, as an example. You can also do the opposite and actually start with like a mega evil empire in the galaxy by changing it to something like the Boscara, who are like a bug race, tech level 3. They're more advanced by 2 tech levels than everybody else. Their expansion is they're a mature group that's got sort of 7 or 8 colonies somewhere, but rather than having them near, let's have it very distant, so on the opposite side of the galaxy from us. Their government type will be a hive mind, home system normal, and in this case we start off with like a war with them or something. So you can set up all sorts of different parameters in here to change the game. Like, so you can actually set up an interesting game just in here as well. But having that previous one, if I just go, I'll leave it off. I won't do that one. I'll just go off there. If we go back to the difficulty settings, having some more, we'll sort of put, like if we play as humans, we're likely to end up with some of the insectoid races near us by having that one there. That's going to be the biggest of the... Actually, we went to starting, didn't we? I might put these back to starting as well, because we're going to have just hostiles near us anyway. Let's just do that. So it will remember what our settings were through here. So we'll just go normal starting level 1. So it's sort of fairly even, except that there will be enemies right nearby. Rogue saying, I really like the number of options. It plays a dramatic role in the game, like it really does. This screen through here, if you play, and this is actually one of the, now that we've got the Return of the Shakturi DLC, we've actually got a big choice to make through here. Like I'll turn on all of the general story events. This sort of allows things, for example, like the Hive, the abandoned planet destroyers, the actual planet destroyers that you can then go and build. So note that planet destroyers must be enabled for the Return of the Shakturi storyline. You can't play any of the Return of the Shakturi story if you don't have planet. These have to be turned on to play any of the others. If you turn off the Return of the Shakturi storyline and sort of so that they don't appear, it means that you can then do a lot of other things. So it's still it doesn't have the end game threat of the Return of the Shakturi. But what it does do is it allows alliances, so you can have like galactic federations and all sorts of things that you can't do if you have the storyline turned on, because that then kicks in when they appear. But if they're not going to appear, you can then have earlier access to that. And I don't know whether to leave the Return of the Shakturi storyline on or leave it off. And maybe in the chat, let me know. It's sort of like it's. I'm sort of inclined to leave it off, just so we've got more options to play at the start. But it's really, I don't mind either way. Like it's a real 50-50 for me. It's a hard one to actually sort of figure out which way to go with this. So I'll just let me know in the chat if anyone feels strongly one way or another. I mean, it's funny because the DLC is Return of the Shakturi, but there's so much else that's been added to the DLC that you don't need to be playing the actual story for it to be playable. And I very rarely, I don't think we'll even get to see the Shakturi the way that I play the game. So maybe we will, but I doubt it. Certainly not in this session. So that's why I'm sort of more erring on the side of leaving it off. Actually, there's been no comment, so I think I'll just leave it off in this instance, just so we get access to those other sorts of alliance type techs if we are that sort of faction. We don't know. Race-specific story events, I also turn that off for the same sort of reason. The reason I don't like having the race-specific story events is that it's always got the same narrative for each faction or for your faction that just steps you through different things, and it's a bit boring. I'm curious about alliances. We may not even get to that one. Yeah, we'll leave it off. It's sort of one of those things that I wish in the tooltip it actually said that as well. That there are benefits to having it turned off in terms of what you can then do in the game as well. So it's a funny one because we're looking at the Return of the Shakturi DLC, but we don't have to play. And One of my greatest fears with the when I knew that they were developing the Return of the Shakturi, like as a DLC, was I was thinking, oh, I hope it's not just all endgame stuff, and it really isn't. Like they've really done an incredible job of both the update and the DLC to make it so that there's a lot of early game stuff in there. Okay, let's just keep it off. We'll keep the race-specific story events off. I never turn them on. Colony events are on. If it's your first game, probably turn it on just so you get a feel for how the game thinks that your faction should be played. But I just turn it off after that. Let's start the game. So it'll take a little while to generate the galaxy. By the way, just at this point in time for this week only, 60% off the base game, which is incredible. I don't think I've ever seen it that low before. And 40% off the older DLCs and 10% off this Return of the Shakturi DLC. So now is the time to grab the game. I put out a little announcement video yesterday because I was thinking, yeah, grab it, guys, grab it while you can. Now, Viren Games are saying, can you build outposts further than you can colonize planets? That's a really good question. The answer is no, but it's something that I was going to put in as a suggestion anyway, actually, because I think you should have double the distance for an outpost, personally. I agree with you. Like, you know, if you're thinking the same thing, that opens the game. Oh, hang on, no. No, I can see why they didn't do it. They didn't do it for the simple reason that you can change an outpost to a colony. And so it would mean that the colonization range might as well be that as well. So yeah, that would be why they didn't do it. Okay, here we go. We've got the Quamino, so the Astute Coma Foundation. So our faction is known as the Astute Coma Foundation. Our government is a geniocracy. We're the Quamino, who are typically passive, careful, and very dependable. By the way, in the game, things like passive, careful, and very dependable are more for the AI, but what they mean is passive does not mean not warlike and not aggressive. It just means that they're less likely to react strongly to threats, but when they decide to go to war, they're going to do it with a lot of resolve anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Like it's sort of like, you know, like most countries in the world would be considered passive, yet we're quite a warlike species in reality. Careful, again, just means that we're not going to jump to conclusions too quickly, and very dependable means that once we start thinking about a faction in a particular way, that will then be the way that we then, you know, like we're going to like stick with alliances. We're going to things like that. So once we're not likely to be the one to break a treaty. Quamino have natural skills in all research, reactor research, ship energy savings, and appearance change chance for scientists. We are we're a technologically advanced species, and we enjoy technology. Our leader is Kara Makuri, skilled in psychic research. This is new with the Return of the Shakturi DLC. Psychic abilities now is a big part of the mid-game of the game, I guess. And so we've got... and again, it's one of these things, I don't know if it should have been called psionic or psychic, but anyway, psychic research is sort of like something that we probably won't get to see that for quite some time. Our home colony is Halsa, a mangrove forest planet in the Coma system. Nearby is the gas giant planet Coma 8. Our level of technology is expanding, allow us to explore beyond our home systems. Explore, expand, and conquer. Let's just get started. I always look up at the pause at this point to make sure that the game is not racing off in its own direction. And so this is a mangrove forest moon back in around through here. Let's have a quick look at the galaxy. See where we are. So we're in a big cluster in through here. And then there's other clusters further away. There's a massive cluster back over through this other side. Little clusters over in through here. So the initial things that are going to happen is what's going to happen in our cluster. We can see a few little telltales, like when we see a small nebula. I've got the nebulas turned on, by the way, and I sort of recommend that you do that. Turn them on so you can see where they actually are. When they're tiny, this usually means that there's like a hive presence there, so the hive ships will ultimately probably be there. There's another small one as well, most likely going to have hive ships in it. So as you get used to playing the game, you'll sort of see these little telltales of them being where old hive ships have been left, or there'll be something sort of special there. There's a few of them there you can sort of see around the place when we sort of zoom in around Coma. So that's sort of what we have in through that other side. We haven't explored anything at this stage. We only know about Coma itself, so that one's actually in there. I'll go through the other changes, but what I'm going to do here, guys, we are going to we're going to ramp this up a little bit and play it a little bit differently. I've never played it this way. We are going to go into our policy settings, which are inside the government, or inside our empire. Go to the last setting, which is policy settings, and we're going to go down and drop. Instead of the presets being usually on default, is sort of the way that I would normally sort of start a game. We're going to go to rule in absence, which means that the AI will now make every single decision is now going to be done by the AI. This is I think where players get confused by the game, because it's a simulation game pretty much first and foremost, and then you just make decisions. You interject yourself into the decision-making process that the game will actually have. When you click on the rule in absence setting, you're essentially saying to the AI, "Don't even ask me. Just do it. Just go ahead and do whatever you need to do." Now, I'm going to be playing it just with this one setting turned on. And we'll play it at 8 times speed and just let the AI do its thing for a long period of time, maybe 10 years. So we'll play it until, say, 2765. Let's make that the date that we're going to. So 11 years essentially. We'll let the AI sort of just take the reins, and then we'll come in and try to fix things up after that. So we'll just let the AI do its stuff. And it's a bit like watching an ant farm. The other thing that you may want to do if you do play it this way, by the way, is and this is actually also can be fun to let the game play for hours at a time and just sort of see where it ends up, because the AI will just play for you with that one setting. You can also then press escape and go to settings, and in settings there's actually a suppress pop-up messages. So when turned on, prevents many types of blocking pop-up messages from appearing. Note that to completely prevent blocking messages, you also need to use the following exploration settings in the Empire policy. Investigate ruins should be set to investigate with no report. Investigate abandoned ships and should be set to investigate with no report. Just for the sake of completion, I'll just show you where they are. If we wanted to, let's just say we were going to go away for the day, going to go to work, and I just wanted to see what happens when I got home. If I don't turn this on, the first time we meet a pirate or someone like that, it's going to put a pop-up message up. But if I turn that one, so I say suppress pop-up messages, yes. If I go and click on that one and then go back again, I'll just go and apply that. It then means that there'll be no pop-up messages coming up, but there still will be a request for information unless we go back to our policies again. And if we go to the, where is it? Exploration, the second one down. And so down through here, send survey team when hidden, yeah, that's okay. Investigate ruins when, at the moment, it's still going to prompt you and ask you. So you do that one to investigate with no report. So you would turn that one to that one, this one to investigate no report. That way the AI has complete control and will not ask you a single question. You can just play away with that setting. I'm going to leave the others just so we can keep a bit of a track of what's going on. So I'm just going to go to prompt and prompt. There's so much automation in the game. This is what sets this apart from any other Space 4X. It's just a level of automation. So let's go and put both of those back on again. And then we'll go back across, press escape, go to settings, and I will actually play with the suppressed pop-up messages to no. So we're still going to have rule in absence. So rule in absence is still actually going ahead. But that's a whole other different areas. Hi ZXM, how you going? So anyway, let's just press escape again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my all the messages in through here, and I'll talk about this while things are actually happening. So this will then this is a different way of now filtering messages, which is very, very cool. This is really, really good. This is one of these things. When I saw that, I was actually almost had like chills down my spine, thinking, wow, what a great way to actually have it so that the game doesn't interrupt you too much. But we're going to leave that one on for now. One thing we might not bother with, I think, is them telling us about the new resources discovered. So let's go and filter that one off, and then we'll just go back up. And let's unpause the game and set it to 8 times speed. And we'll just sit back and watch. We'll watch for 10 years of game time and see what it does. And so we'll have no bearing at all on what Yeah, Renegar saying, I'm glad the reviews for the game slash expansion are positive so far. Yeah, it should be. It's massive changes to the actual gameplay. It's actually what they've done is really really good. Like it's really improved the game. Just the free updates. There we go. We're seeing different. Like we're exploring our home system initially. We can just wait until we sort of see them sort of starting to leave. New escort completed. That's interesting. They're building their own. They're building new ships to protect themselves. But you can see the exploration ships are just, no one's left the system yet. Should I buy the bundle in, says Alexander. You've got a week. I would say yes, personally, but then I am biased. I love the game. And at 40% off for the other DLC, I would say yes, get it. But it's really up to you. You'd certainly, if you just get the base game, you'll certainly have fun with it in general. So we're just watching different things. Mining stations are being built around the place. The AI is just sort of doing its own thing for a while. Now, we just saw some ships have now left. And so we've now got the explorers are now going further afield. They'll start to just find things. So I've turned off the messages about the various resources, so we don't get to see those at all. But what do you guys reckon? Those of you that are watching that have played the game, would you recommend that people get all of the DLC at one go, or do you think it's best for them to sort of just step in and play the game? The base game is certainly playable on its own. There's the faction we're playing comes from a DLC, I've got to say, and the DLC factions have been fully fleshed out. So Steve S is saying, do you know if Larry Monty is planning to play through with all the recent changes? I'm sure he would. He's been very, very active in the beta. So I would assume that he would. But I don't know. No, he's certainly around, so he's very likely that he will. Yeah, so Joe says, I think so too. So I'm thinking that maybe about whether to get the bundle. I'm not sure. Not sure if that's what that was about. You can see that our explorers. Now, what our explorers are doing is that they're actually going out and they'll get stuck at certain locations. These are all explorers. These little diamond shapes that are going out. New spies appeared. Again, we're not going to do anything until we get up to 2760, 65. So bought the base game and the 2 cheap DLCs, but haven't played yet, says Rogue. Yeah, look, it's we're playing one of the DLC factions here, who is typically a fairly friendly type faction. But we're doing, like, I'm not using my hands at all. I'm just watching what's going on. We have now found our first group of pirates, and these are Boscaran pirates. These are going to be a problem for us. And we've now got a fever, like a virus has now hit our home system. This will affect our income. New mining station completed. What are we researching? Hard energy experiments. This is bubble shields. These are really important, actually. But you can see they're 23 years. So we're going to be still having those being developed when we do take over. There's the pirate base right there. Eagle's Rest. We get a little symbol down there. That little shock symbol is telling us that there was a potential threat there. Red Gangsters, more Boscara, another Boscara group. So the AI is figuring out what to do with all of these different things. So colony raided, so it's raided by forces. So we've actually had a raid go in on the actual location itself. But you can just play the game this way, where you literally do absolutely nothing and just let the game play. If they've raided, what did they pick? Oh, this is not good. When they start to actually take your hard-earned resources, it's not good when the pirates are doing that. So it looks like we may have Boscara next to us, which is going to make life very, very hard. We'll see what they find. Will we find other Boscara further afield? What have we got there? Is that a scientist or something? New ambassador. Now we're hovering back and we're not seeing any fleets. No fleets have been built yet. I normally start off by building fleets. So this is already playing very differently than the way that I play the game. We've got their colony raided. Yep, a ground battle is continuing on at Coma as the pirates raid. So I try to protect my holdings from things like the pirates, but they did build an escort, but it's not really enough. The frigate is under attack. Yeah, we do have a frigate, but these aren't part of these aren't actually part of a fleet yet. Otherwise, we'd see the fleet down the bottom through here. Yeah, base raided. What do they pick up? Argon. So we're at 27.58 now. This could be a fun way to start the game. If you don't know what you're going to end up with. These are our borders. You can see that they're extending from the population centre. So we've gone to here. This is the limits of what we can actually then go and do. The borders actually are whatever's halfway. There's a little star there. That one there is causing that line to be built there. That one there and that one there. There's a little angle through that side. This one and this one gives us this line. So that's how the borders sort of then work around the actual systems themselves. Warlord, frigate Warlord of Coma is under attack by the behemoth of Neurasis. So we're going to have to sort of deal with this. Under attack yet again, so the colony is being raided all the time. It's not good, it's not good. So we're suffering here a little bit. If we go back and have a bit of a look, there should be pirates all over us. They're all away at the moment. I know there they all are. Yeah, these are just sitting back and raiding what we've got. We do have one. Okay, we're starting to build a few units in through here. There's some more pirates coming in to raid us. And we did actually sort of... they withdrew. So we are building up some forces. Here comes more pirates. Oh, look at this. Look how many pirates are now raiding now. So they're going to leave with a lot of stuff. They're going to destroy our defences. They've raided the colony. It's not good. Not good at all. So the AI is struggling here. We've still got 5 years before we take over. So we're going to end up with a fairly dishevelled group. Thank you, Rogue, for the super chat. Very much appreciated. Got to go back to work, so watch it later. No problem at all. So now you're running in positive. The money is this is a bit more complex. I'll just let the game keep on playing while I describe what's going on here. If you go back to your empire setting in through here again, the first one is actually the economy. And you'll see different things that impact your economy. It's split into two, the actual economy in the game. And you don't have to really look at it much. You did in Distant Worlds 1, you had to really micromanage it, but you don't so much. I don't even look at it much at all in Distant Worlds 2. And so you've got things like the taxation is usually your biggest income. This is actually from the population. This is where you do want to have like large population centres. And so they give you tax, and that tax rate is set per colony. I might sort of talk a little bit about that. We've still got a few years of things to go through. Then we've got expenses like ship and base maintenance, troop maintenance. As we build troops, they cost. Facility maintenance have like a cost as well. In this case, whatever all the expenses are from the income, we have a cash flow of 267. So not very much, but that's sort of where we are. The annual bonus income. So this is actually where the private sector. So there's all the freighters and things like that also have to get built at our shipyards. And so they pay us for that. So they actually pay for that one through there. The private economy has got like a lot of cash. They've got 110,000, 111,000 now, which happens to be about the same as what our money is. So we've actually got our own source of money. The cash money that we actually have is different to the cash money here, even though it looks like it's the same amount. This is actually the freighters. We don't control them. All of the private sector is controlled automatically. The colony revenue is actually how much is generated on the colony by the traders, by the civilians essentially. So the civilians do this one. We take a cut of what they earn as tax. So when they earn something on the colonies, we have a percentage that gets paid back to us as the colony tax rates. If we start to see more of these raids, that's going to impact that rate. You can see it's dropping a lot because of the raids. So the raids are a major, major problem right now. They also then have, so they've got their income through there. Then they've got their expenses as well. The ship maintenance is like a wasted expense that doesn't go to anyone. That's the buying things for the different ships. The colony taxes is what they're paying. That should be identical to this number through here ultimately. So that's actually what they pay in taxes. Private fuel gets paid as well. Like they pay for the fuel. That comes through usually in bonus income. It's not showing it in through there. Private shipbuilding should be the same number there that we see up in through here. So current and then current back in there. So that's actually what they're investing in to build their freighters. And so they're using and that's a bonus income. We've just gone to another year. We're now 2763. We're nearly ready to take over. So that's actually how the economy works. And that's why you don't have to really look at this too much, because this really, like that little number there is this cash flow number. And that can be wildly negative, but you can then still make a lot of money from the bonus incomes. So you don't have to worry about it too much. So I almost don't worry about it unless I go into the red in the first number or get close to the red. You need that to be able to do things, and I hope that there'll be some money there for us when we do take over. We've actually now come across the Ikaru. They should be friendly with us. So these actually should be a good ally for us. And we've hit them where? Where did we find them? Over there. They'll be in the northern part of the cluster. I'm thinking the Boscara will probably be down through here. We've now found an investigate. This now pauses the game. So abandoned ship has been encountered. Let's go take me to the location of it. So we've now found this ship. We've got one of our survey ships has now come and come close to this ship. And we can investigate it or leave it alone. We're going to investigate it. And this one here, we actually took it over. So that's now become one of our ships. And we picked up some system maps when we actually had a look through its computer systems, essentially. Our colony is still being raided, which is not good. And so that ship will now come back, probably sort of end up being part of whatever we do. We've now formed a defence fleet. So we've got a defence fleet coming back in. That's now based on that ship that we just picked up. It's strong enough for us to take on the pirates, and so the AI has now put that into helping things out a little bit. Anyway, that's the money situation. We don't have to worry about it too much. Okay, new frigates, new escorts have been completed, which is good. And so and we do actually have the Admiral has been put onto this particular fleet. That will then hopefully chase away the pirates. These guys are suffering. They have been damaged a little bit. They're trying to run away. That one is also been damaged a little bit with the shielding. This one's going out. This is just a heavy escort, just going out to look after things. So we've still got a couple more months before we take over. But yeah, the money situation, so that's our cash flow, and that can be quite negative. But the bonus income will still actually push us up. And yeah, you can often be in the red there, but you know, tracking positively over this other side. Now, where are they off to? This defence forces are going to operate. They've set up this area for that fleet to operate in this region. And so they're going to attack. They're attacking Gravelexes there. They're now going back for repairs back at home. And so they're going to start to defend this region. That's what the AI has set up. So we've done nothing at all in terms of what we're doing through here. It's 2765. Okay. All right. So we can now take over at this point. Or we can just let the game run for, until 2770 even. Maybe let me know in the chat. Are you happy for me to just let the AI play the game for a little bit longer, or should we actually now step in and start to try to fix things up that we think may need to be fixed up? It's sort of one of these things where we certainly have done a lot of the initial exploration, a lot of the initial building. We've got all sorts of different things we have to now consider. We've got a new scientist that has just appeared. So a lot of things have just happened right now, actually. So maybe it is a good time. So Kurosami saying a good way to learn different parts of the game is to turn prompts on for that part. That way you can see exactly what the AI suggests. That's a good idea, yes. Let the AI carry on for a bit longer, says Chris. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Let's go to 2770, and then we'll take over at that point. I actually quite like, look, it's like watching an ant farm, you know, like with the ants are just doing their thing. It's, I quite like it, I've got to say, because the game does a good job of doing what it's doing. It's been able to fight the pirates off. There's a second fleet. That's still our other fleet. The other one is actually a raiding fleet. So that's actually got this range. So, and this one has actually got a fair few troops in it, fair few ships in it as well. So they're actually building now the fleets to be a bit more aggressive. Attack targets within 50% of the fuel range of the Elsa starport. So right out to, you know, beyond where we're actually exploring, that they will actually now operate offensively. The other ones will look for threats that are close by. Now we can see pirate ships are happening to be coming in exactly the same time as this one in through here. Like they're coming in. Here comes pirate ships moving in towards their home system. There should be some battles going on around the different places. Here we go. We've got now fleet combat going in with the pirate ships attacking a mining base. With this is that little raiding group went off. They've now moved away. They weren't able to cope with it. So they've moved out to here. They're still actually attacking pirates. This is good. We're actually now able to. The AI has now figured out, you know, what it needs to do to defend what our holdings are. This is the fleet that we actually had back in through this other side, I think. It's got no mission. This one is just a small troop transport. Here comes that little raiding fleet again. They're just zipping off. 8 times speed is way too fast to play the game and enjoy it, but it's interesting to see, like if we're not going to take over until, you know, 2770, it's interesting to sort of see what it's doing and where it's going. Like there's a group of, look at the number of pirates. There's just heaps of them. All right, so they're a big threat. So we'll have to, when we take over, we're going to have to do a lot of different things to mitigate that particular threat. So it is interesting. So Matthew's saying, so you can essentially have the AI automate and run everything and turn the prompts on to learn the different aspects. Yes, you can. So like say for example that we wanted to see what base building the AI wanted to do as an example. I can just go down into here and turn on, like with your advisors and automation, there's so much in here you can change on or off anyway. If I go to construction, you can see there's ship and base design. That's the designing of it. Ship construction, base construction. I can actually say, okay, look, give me the suggestions or suggest and prompt. If I click on this one through here, it won't pause the game. But if I turn that one on, it will then start to tell me every time it wants to build a base. It'll just let me know, oh, look, I'm thinking of building a base over here. And we'll at least then see what it's doing. So we can play it on a slower speed and try to figure out what's going on and just sort of see how things actually operate. So we can just turn these on or off. So the settings are complete manual where you manually control everything. And if you're playing, when you start off as a refugee fleet, you may want to just turn that bit on just so that you're controlling the whole lot. The next one is for them to make suggestions but not follow through unless you say yes, do it. And then the third one is to suggest but still go ahead and do it if you don't get involved. So you can turn these things on, and then the last one is just automate. Don't even tell me, just do it. So that's the sort of like the different sorts of settings that they've got there. It's incredible what the game will then go and do. And so we've literally touched nothing other than just zoomed in on different stuff. You can see there they've got mining bases down through here, which are being attacked by space monsters. Yeah, we've got the expansion happening, which is good. We've got no other borders anywhere. We haven't come really across the other factions. Might just flick on my air conditioner. I'll be right back. Alright. So, one more year, then we take over. But it's a pretty cool way to see how the AI plays the game, like what it does. Yeah, Kurosami's then saying it usually makes sense to take more control in the early game and then add more automation. Yes, that's pretty much what I end up doing. I tend to control a lot of things and then release certain stuff. I like to control all the fleets. It's interesting, our borders are expanding, so this means that our development and our home system is actually improving. Now, it looks like we may have actually defeated... We've got a group there. What are they doing? One's okay. Oh, that pirate base is still there. Thought they may have actually attacked that. We're seeing how there's, like, when we pause, there's all these little grey ships scooting past us. We're seeing them move through. These are the actual pirate ships on their way back. Like, these are fleet destroyers and things like this. Very, very powerful. They're moving back to their base. So when I unpause that, you'll sort of see them moving back and forwards while they go off to do different raids. So there's actually a big presence in around here, for example, where the pirates are really just going crazy. The AI has really not knuckled down and done anything about the pirates in any meaningful way. Here we go. We're nearly ready and almost at 2770. Just go to normal speed and just let it sort of tick down the last few days before we take over and run it our own way. Almost there. Larry, hi Larry, how are you going? Actually, people were asking whether you're going to be doing some content as well. I said that you most likely would be. No, this is a we're playing up until 2770. There we go. The first 2770. We can now take over. We just let the AI do its thing for a period of time, for 16 years. So we've now inherit at the 16-year mark, essentially, of what's actually gone on. So now we'll start to analyse and see what we've inherited from the AI. It looks like in those last 5 years, they actually did a pretty good job of being able to protect themselves to a certain extent from the threat. But let's just go through now all of the different bits and pieces, because we have a lot to learn about what the AI, about what we've inherited. We know that we started off with a normal system here, and so with the normal system, we will actually have all of the bare bones for the resources that we require. But we'll have a look at all these different things. Let's just start, first of all, with the diplomacy. Now, we've got no reputation, no wars. We haven't really dealt with the pirates, otherwise our reputation would be positive, and it's not. It's not showing anything in through there. The only people that we've met so far are the Ikaru Tranquility Haven, and it's sort of they're okay at this point in time. They're just +1. They're neutral with us, and there's a growing warmth with that because we've known them for long enough. It's going up by +1.4. So we've come to understand and appreciate your ways. These should ultimately be an ally. So let's just go and let's go through each of the screens and start to tweak what we're going to be doing with these. So Larry's saying likely to be a week or two before I get to streaming. Yeah, I've been letting everyone know about the 60% off at this point in time because I'm sort of urgently trying to put content out because I think that I've never seen the game with that much money off. Like it's amazing. So if you're on the fence about getting the game, now is the time to jump in and grab it while it's 60% off. It's only available for less than a week now at those cheap rates, and it's 40% off for the older DLCs, 10% off for the Return of the Shakturi DLC. By the way, the Ikaru also came in with another DLC. There's another DLC group as well that came in. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to click on that one. I'm going to change the diplomatic strategy for this one to not be run by the AI. In fact, what we'll do is we'll go first of all back into here. We're going to go to Advisors and Automation, and we're going to change the rule in absence now to default. And the one thing I really want to control is my fleets. And so I'm going to let the AI do most things, but I will then just, I want to manually control the fleets. And they're at the bottom in through here, fleet formation, fleet postures, and fleet ship management. Let's go and make all of those manual. The other thing that I really don't care about at this point, now that the game has run forward for so long, is to have the base construction. They can just do that automatically. I don't need to get involved in that one. I think the rest of it I'll just keep on the default settings, which is usually come up and prompt. So I'll leave that there. Maybe even shipbuilding I may turn off at some point as well. Chris is saying, how does the game perform? Is it more optimized now? Yes, they've been working on that for, since they released it a lot. So every time they do anything, sometimes it goes backwards a little bit with new content. That may be that way now. I'm not sure. I've never had a problem with it. So now we're taking over, and essentially we're going to get a lot of suggestions that are going to come through with how we sort of then operate, but we're going to be basically taking over. The automation is still going to be there for most things, and so when we do go back to, for example, the diplomacy, in fact, if I go back to there again and go down to diplomacy, you can see through there offering gifts as a suggestion. I'll leave it there as a suggestion with what we've done. Negotiating treaties and starting and ending wars is also just suggestions at this stage. We may want to make that just purely manual if it gets annoying. So we now are just going to tweak things if they start to get annoying, but we can also manage it now through the new messaging system. So we've got a bit of choice there. Anyway, let's go across to diplomacy. We only have the one. I'm going to stop it from being an automatic. So diplomatic strategy for this empire is automated. Your advisors will select an appropriate strategy for this empire. In this case, I'm going to go and make that one manual, and I want to befriend these. What these do is, if we go down to conquer, I'll just go through each of these. What this does is it sort of tells the rest of the AI running your like empire, and it can be ships, can be anything at all, how to interact with this empire. So if it's on conquer, and most of the factions will be set to conquer. Conquer strategy means that your empire will prepare for war against this empire, moving your fleets into positions for attack. You will also use the full array of espionage and sabotage missions against this empire. So it's not just mean that you're going to be trying to take it over. It means that your ships and your spies will actually operate against this empire aggressively. So they will do things as if they're a threat. All the time. As we then come back to undermine, this one here will then do things a bit differently. So undermine strategy means that your empire will undertake a complete array of espionage and sabotage missions against this empire in an effort to secretly undermine them. So we can actually go and try to be a bit more negative. I'm going to be trying to role play a little bit. Like if we were playing as the Dayuts, which is like a bug faction, we would probably be using undermine even with friends. Defend is this one here is defense strategy means that your empire will prepare defenses against anticipated aggression from this empire, basing defensive fleets at vulnerable targets. So this one here again will change the different types of missions your spies will do, and will actually set them up to defend, which is very, very cool. Then you've got the neutral, which is what we actually had in neutral. Means your empire is more likely to work towards trade treaties and non-aggression treaties. You will likely be willing to undertake a wide array of espionage missions against the empire, but no sabotage missions. So we'll still be going into steal technology and things like this. Befriend. Then befriend strategy means that your empire will more likely to work towards mid-level treaties like migration, territory map sharing, galaxy map sharing. You'll also pursue low-level espionage missions against this empire, like stealing map data, but you won't do too much because you don't want to sort of interrupt the friendship. Then you've got ally, where this is when ally means that your empire is more likely to work towards high-level treaties, so military refueling, research, exploration, mining rights. You're also less likely to undertake any intelligence missions against this empire. And then finally, you've got close ally, which sort of is the where you try to sort of get as close as possible. So close ally strategy means that your empire is more likely to work towards very high levels treaties, so defense, operations, map sharing, intelligence sharing. You're also much less likely to undertake any intelligence missile missions against this empire. It's very, very detailed, and you can see it's not just impacting the diplomacy with this one, it's actually impacting the way that your whole empire, anything automated in your empire, will then actually sort of operate as well. You can override anything in the game, but in this case, I'm just going to go to befriend. I think that's probably a good start for us. That way, if there is a decision to be made, it will be made with that in mind, which I think is great. So Matthew's saying, I'm tempted to buy the base game and give it a try without any DLC. I've never really spaced 4X before. Much more of a fantasy fan. Yeah, look, for me, it's like this is an exceptional game simply because it's a simulation first. And so these things here, what we're doing by manually controlling these, and I do have to click this one to be able to change it. By manually controlling it, we're telling the other automated settings how to behave with this faction. And so a lot of what we do will have, this is where Distant Worlds 2 is just so much better than Distant Worlds 1. The actual interplay of the different elements within that simulation setting is just incredible. So yeah, even though it's like not fantasy or anything like that, I find it fascinating, just the way the game plays out. I mean, we've played 16 years just letting the AI do its thing, and it's going to be interesting to see what we've actually been able to find. There's a lot that we will have missed because we were playing at 8 times speed. So we saw a little bit there with the initial pirate wars, with the pirates really taking a lot of dominant stance. And then when we found that particular ship, that then gave us the firepower to start to protect our home system. And from there, we've been now expanding and trying to protect other things. But the pirates are super strong now, so that will be fairly interesting. Anyway, that's what we'll do with these guys. So we actually, our trade income. We've got the. So this is our trade income. 297 credits for the last 5 years. So we've actually, it looks like we've been selling them stuff, I think. Their trade income is nothing. It looks like they may be buying things from us, I think. That's how that one works. Maybe if somebody else who plays the game a lot will be able to confirm that one. I think that's actually what we have with them. And so we've actually made some income from that. This faction can supply our resource shortages in dilithium, quartz and silicon. So it looks like we've got a shortage in silicon. And they've got different luxury goods as well. So ultimately they could be fairly good. Their relationship, they only know 2 of the pirates that we're dealing with, the Evil Prowlers and the Red Star Gangsters. Let's go now across to the pirate relations. And they're the only 2 that we know about. The Red Star Gangsters have got, their known military strength is 0. So it looks like they've actually been... they've been suppressed somewhere. I don't know where they are. If we go and just remove that one while this is actually on, we can see that the Evil Prowlers, this is actually where they are. So we know where they actually are. They're furious with us. These ones aren't as furious. We don't have any relationship with these at all. So, but these we haven't really done anything with them. They're just displeased with us, and they've got contempt for your civilized complacency. But the other one, we have actually a very high level. They're furious with us. So contempt for your civilized complacency, that's just default for pirates, but they're very upset with the attacks against our military ships. So we've been destroying some of their ships or fighting some of their ships, and that's really pissing them off. So they're annoyed with us. They're also furious with the Ikaru as well, not to the same extent. But these guys are much more on our side of space than the Ikaru, so we're going to have to deal with them. They're our problem, basically. The Ikaru may be able to build a fleet to go and take them out, which is sort of where that one sort of goes. Hi, Potato, how you going? So actually, Kurosami is saying, I find watching all the elements of your empire work together it really is very, very cool. Kurosami is saying it's really a very chill Forex game when you can get as involved in what's going on as much as you want. You can also play it where you're only playing with friendly factions as well. You can just play it as a trading game. You can sort of turn off all of the bug and in reptilian players and just play with the others. Like it's pretty cool. Hi Tails, Sly Fox, how you going? So and Potato saying hello, I'm good, thanks. How's everyone doing? We're all doing well, I think. Abel Ruiz is saying the Shakturi are in Distant Worlds 2. Maybe it's my time to finally change from Distant Worlds 1. Yeah, well, now is the time. I'll just say it again, guys. 60% off is the for the base game, and 40% off for the 2 other DLCs, and 10% off for Return of the Shakturi. So we're playing with the Shakturi turned off, but we're playing that way for a reason, and we're playing that way so that we can ultimately end up with the alliance system kicking in a bit earlier than what it normally would. So Kurosami is saying, you can take out all the aggressive players and play a peaceful trading and diplomacy game. Yes, so you can play it whichever way you want to play it, if depending on how you want to set the game up, because you can actually control the game with deciding which factions are in the game that you're going to be playing if you're wanting to. So you've got a lot of control. Now, their reputation as well is diabolical, as you'd expect. You can see they're like, no one wants to really deal with these Boscara. Now, the fact that we've also got 2 Boscara groups makes me think that we're going to find a Boscara civilization very, very soon. I'm assuming that they're down possibly outside, maybe in one of these sorts of locations, which will make it difficult for them to expand. Like, we've been lucky because we're in the middle of a cluster, but they could be out in through here somewhere that we just haven't reached yet. So we'll find out fairly soon, I would guess. Karasami's saying, yeah, you can take out all the aggressive. Yeah, we've done that one, and huge amount of customization possible in the Galaxy setup. Incredible amount. Yes, absolutely amazing. It's an incredible game. Okay, so we've only really been able to explore in those 15 years. This is as far out as we've gone with our exploration. So you can see it's not very far. We still haven't even explored the cluster that we started in. So the scale in the game is also massively big. Anyway, that's the we're going to have to deal with these guys. The 3,900 is massive. Like, this is a big problem. If we go and have a look and see what they've got, let's just see what we can do about this base that they've got, because ultimately we need to destroy this. And the base has got a strength of only 788, but it's going to have a lot of other ships around it, and we don't know what those ships have got yet, so we're going to have to start to look at the fights, analyse what's going on, and then try to sort of make the best use with that one. Now, we know that they're Boscara. We can see they're using Firestorm torpedoes and plasma blasters, so we can expect the ships to have the same sorts of weaponry. You can see them in red on the on that little pop out that sort of comes out onto the side. So that's going to be a little bit difficult. They've got 6 interceptors and 6 bombers, so they're going to have a fair number of small craft operating from here. Now, the pirate ships aren't like a normal Boscara ship in terms of the actual fields of fire, so they do actually have better protection for the rear than what the other ships actually have. So we'll come back to those. Independent colonies, we don't know any of those. Alliances, this is new to the Return of the Shakturi DLC, and so we can form alliance. This is enabled by story events, is what it's saying, but apparently we can actually get tech that will allow us to do this. I haven't actually played it with that yet, but that's why we've turned off the Shakturi elements, because that should, like it says, enabled by story events. If we're playing Return of with the Shakturi in the game, we don't have any control. It happens when the Shakturi arrive, but apparently we can actually go and make this ourselves at some point in the actual game. Ambassadors, we've only got the one ambassador, but we don't have anywhere to send him. Like, it's, if I go to the ambassador himself, I can only send him to the evil prowlers, and I don't want to do that. So let's not worry about that one. Then we've got spies. We've got 2 spies. They're just doing counterintelligence. I'm just going to leave them on auto at this stage. And then finally we've got prisoners, which we actually did find an enemy spy. This is so we've imprisoned one of the Ikaru spies. Okay. Now, we can do different things to try to befriend these, and I'm thinking that we do. I don't, like, I'm going to be, because I'm playing as a Quamino, I'm not going to be playing evil, I'm going to be playing good. And so, actually, Larry's saying, Planet Superiority are the toughest pirates, extra tech level and deal breaker, beam skipping both shields and armour. That's the human one, isn't it? Deepfake is saying, hi all, I love this game, in Distant Worlds 1. Not so much Solaris. I also enjoy Endless Space 2. Have you ever played it? I have. I don't really enjoy Endless Space 2, to be honest. It's not a game that I've really enjoy much at all. I think it looks nice, and that's about it. Okay, so anyway, we'll go with this one through here. We've got this one in prison. Do I really care if he's going to come in and steal tech? And I actually don't, because we want to be friendly with them anyway, and I think we ultimately will be. So I'm going to return him to the, return Puta Lopa to the Eco Tranquility Haven. This will improve our relations with them. And so by doing that, we're likely then to get other things. If we go back to the others, the diplomatic relations, and speak with them, they're not going to do much. If we go to the treaties and have a bit of a look, non-aggression treaty, we need to be up to 19, and we're at the moment we're on 1. Restricted trade agreement, they're not going to do just yet. The limited trade agreement, none of these are going to actually happen. There's a lot of different diplomacy sort of agreements you can then have with different groups. But in this case, we need to get our friendship up with them, and at the moment we're only +1. This will help by giving them back their spy. So let's go and do that. So we'll go and return, not execute. Now we can Also, actually, before I do that, sorry, I'll just go and keep it for a second. If we go back there and speak with them, we can also negotiate a deal, but they're not going to actually deal with anything. But what we can do is just give them back their spy this way as well. Excuse me. So it's worth 36,000 to them. We also have text that we can give them. We can sort of see what we have that they don't have. Things like that. But look, I'm happy for them to. We're going to need friends. I'm going to give them back. This is not something that we need to get in the middle of. So let's just go and give them back their prisoner. Return. There we are. And that will then improve our relations with them. They're now at 7, and so this is now a positive thing. You can see through there, +5. Appreciate you releasing a prisoner back to us, so that's actually good in through there. This does have a rust factor. That will tend towards 0 at -1 per year. So we've got 5 years of good relations coming out of that one, but it will rust away at 1 per year, so that will go backwards a little bit. But overall, it's positive, and hopefully we sort of end up, with them being good friends. So that's actually what our goal is with those. Okay, next one across is the various characters. Now we've got the Enlightened Master, which has now got, if we have a look and see what this one's got, Biowarfare research is negative, psychic research is up, civilian ship construction speed and military ship maintenance savings are good. Ship construction speed is from a trait, it's 0, but that may improve. Facility construction speed is up. Colony corruption reduction is 0. It looks like it's cancelling something else out. Colony happiness is lowish at -5. Diplomacy is not great. Population growth is not great either. Mining rate is +20. Actually, let's have a look before we do that at our government. So we've got the geniocracy. So all research goes up by 10%. Our troop recruitment rate is low. Troop recovery rate is low, mining rate is low, trade income is low, and colony income is low. But we're good at research. That's basically what we do. So special abilities, colony growth funding. We can spend scientists for crash research. So using a scientist will permanently remove them, but we'll immediately complete the crash research project. So if we have something critical, we can sacrifice a scientist to actually go and do that. This is unique for this particular government, and spend scientists for critical research failure as well. So critical research failures allow your faction to use one of your scientists to instead initiate crash research in the failed project. So if we do end up with a failed research project, and at the moment you can see there's like a little stopwatch next to it, which means we are crash researching it. In less than a year, we're going to get the hard energy experiments, which will then allow us to get the bubble shields. This is a major thing for the Quamino, so we'll talk about that when we get to that one through there. They have their typical leader term is 40 years, and it does end in a coup d'etat. It's slightly disrupted at -7. If we were playing as the like a military dictatorship, it would be, I forget what the actual number is, but it's very disruptive if you're a military dictatorship. A coup d'etat in the geniocracy is nothing sort of too bad. That's actually a typo there. Coup d'etat, they've actually got extra. I think what's happened here is that the translation between the ASCII 2 and the other style has actually kicked in, so that's actually a bug. I should be jotting these little things down. Actually, no, my pen doesn't work all that well. I won't do it. Anyway, that's a bug. That's a bug that has to be fixed. And the scientists form the leadership group with what actually does happen through here. Now, we end up research completed in research labs, improved sensors, and coordinated control. Back in through this other side. We can switch to different governments. The ones that are allowable for us are democracy, monarchy, and geniocracy. They're the 3. We don't actually have technocracy as an option. Okay, so where did we get up to? So Salmon's saying, "Hey Daz, my just mods 2 refresh mods seem to be working with the new DLC. Oh, okay, I'll be adding some stuff for the new assets from the DLC when real life settles down. Oh, okay, cool. It's I've turned off anything that I was half suspicious about, like there's flag mods and stuff like that, which I've turned off, which I know did interrupt certain things, but that's good to know actually. So I can turn them back on. They're sort of the mods that Salmons is talking about are cosmetic, but they are they have in the past. Some of them have sort of have stopped certain files that from updating properly. But it's that's good that they're not interrupting anything, which is great. Correct, somebody's saying, to Raven's Path, forgot to say, if you want to play without the DLC, to start with the Actarians, Tekans, Mercantile, Xenox Tech, great peaceful races. Yeah, if you want to play peacefully, Actarians for me are one of my favourites. I absolutely love them. Okay, so Larry's saying I reported that typo already. Great, okay, that's cool, that's great. I did tell everyone that Larry was very, very active with the beta testing. Hi Elzeth, how you going? And Salman said, yeah, flag mod was updated. Cool, okay, so the flag mod is now safe to use. I haven't been playing with it with the DLC, just because I wasn't sure. Right, so that's our government. Again, if we just go back to the characters. So these then sort of kick in. This is our leader, who sort of has like a global effect, which is actually quite important. We've got an ambassador just waiting. We've got an admiral, which is commanding the 1st Defence Force from the Overwhelming Shield, which is one of the ships. That'll be the actual ship there. And again, one of the cool things is you can see the history of the characters. So, whoops, hang on. If we just scroll this one down, these are all the different hyper jumps this guy's been involved in. So he's been jumping around all over the place. So he appears there in 2754, so very, very early on in the game. And he's been involved with different sort of constructions while he was actually there. He'll eventually get transferred out. This is the history around wherever he is. Yeah, changed location in it took him 10 years, and we saw that. It took them forever to build their first fleet. And so he finally then moves out to the Overwhelming Shield, and he's been the admiral on board that ship ever since 2764. So for 6 years he has now been the admiral, and from there the actual ship, every time it goes into hyper jump, it's recorded. They did destroy a creature at decisive strike, so that was actually back in through here. More hyper jumps, just lots and lots of hyper jumps and fights. It changed its location to the Intrepid Victory at one point. New trait, Skilled Navigator. And then changed location back to the Overwhelming Shield yet again. And just keep on hyper jumping around. And all these would mean that most of these would end up in battles with the pirates. So he's been he's a bit of a veteran, and so he's got military ship maintenance savings of +7, and hyper jump speed goes up by +8% when he's in charge. And so the traits that he has is Good Tactician, which is 3% increase to all existing skills, and Skilled Navigator +5%. So you combine those two, that's the extra 3 in through there. So you can see that this one also, the military ship maintenance savings, he will, as he levels up, he will then basically get more and more savings with this one here as well. The more experience he gets, the better off he'll be. Now, there are certainly much better admirals than what we end up seeing with these, but he's good, that's fine. We have one general waiting at Elsa as well. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and change this one to not be automated. He's going to be manually controlled, and we'll just make sure that he goes to where we want him to be. So that will be fine. Now, Suiga 10, waiting at Elsa. That's okay, I'll just leave him where he is. And then we've got 2 scientists. They're both just waiting at Elsa. And so here we've got Shields Research, and all research is great. So that's actually good. He's sober, which does give him a boost to all the research. This is very, very important for us. And we have another one as well with another, he's driven. So another +5, and increase the chance of a critical research failure. That's a problem. That's potentially a problem. So if we end up with a critical failure, it means we restart our research, unless you've got the crash research happening, which is, unfortunately, being driven, he's likely to make mistakes. So anyway, that's sort of where we are with the 2 scientists. Now, these are not anywhere. We'll get to the science tab eventually. We need to get research locations, and we haven't found any yet, which is a problem actually for us, because we really need to find as many of them as possible. So next thing we have is the so that's those. Then we've got the spies and the prisoners again, in terms of the characters. Next one across is the colonies. So we've only got the one colony, and in this case, what we're really looking through here is the is really the taxation rate. 28% is good. I'm not going to micromanage this at all. I'm just going to let them do their own thing. So I'm not going to sort of get involved in any of this one here. What will happen is when you've got a planet where the population is high enough that it's not trying to keep on growing the population, it will then switch to trying to keep the approval at around +6, +7, and it does that through taxation. So the taxation is directly is impacted by the happiness of the people. So the more happy a group is, the more happy a population is, the higher the taxation can be, like as in the approval. And you make people happy by bringing in luxury resources. So they'll end up building luxuries. Look at this. Actually, these guys have now built a good group on the actual planet to push back the pirates. So the pirates raiding the home world are no longer a big problem for us. We don't have to really worry about it. So this is actually very, very cool. This is great to see this one. Also at the home world, we've got planetary facilities. We do actually have an armor barracks, so we can go and build those as well. So bombardment resistance with this one would be good. At ground attack, there's been a lot of work done on the planets themselves and what the facilities will then do. So we can see there that by having the armor barracks on a planet, it's not just the ability to be able to build armored troops. It also does actually help with the things like bombardments and ground attack. Just having the presence. So I love this aspect now in the game. The game is just changing, just subtly, but really, really nicely in so many different ways. What's that we've got there? Oh, this is actually. Now this here is this is okay. I don't know where this one came. We'll get to this one in a minute. This will be interesting to see. I don't think we'll see a history of that one, but anyway, this one here we've got the robotic troop foundry as we can build. I tend not to build them, to be honest. This one also then has resistances as well if it is built, and then we've got the troop cloning facility. And again, this one allows cloning of the best infantry units, and the maintenance cost there is 500. We've got enough. Look, that would be something, usually you do want to be building this one. It's certainly something we could afford. We don't really need it yet, so I might just leave it off and just wait for the AI to suggest it. But anyway, that's the population through there. Enjoy living there. What's the negatives? Current tax rate is too high. You see how this is impacting their happiness by -36 to get it down to the +7, which is fine. And by now, like enough time has gone away that the pirate raids are no longer something that they're worried about. So that's actually this is something that's, very, very different now. Like it's not like if we had have done this 10 years ago when the pirate raids were going crazy when we weren't in charge or anything. That would be a high unhappiness factor, which means our tax rate would then be impacted. Anything that affects happiness affects taxation, which affects your income. So it's an easy way to think of the impact of things, for example, like viruses. When a virus hits, it makes your population unhappy. When your population is unhappy, the tax rate has to drop, which means your income drops. So anything to do with happiness affects your income. Now, a big factor of this is also development. And so development, you can see 117% in through there. You can actually hover over this one and sort of see what actually is coming from this one. And so we end up with 116 is what it's showing through here. 40% coming from the actual population itself, which we don't have any real control over. But the other one, 76%, is coming from resources and luxury resources. So the luxury resources are vitally important, again, just for the happiness and development of your colony. And also the development is pretty much a direct representation of your borders. And so we can see there, this is our borders in through here. And so as we get higher development, we saw that this one actually kicked in. It was this location wasn't considered part of our empire. It now is, because as the development and we get more luxury goods coming in, the development goes up, and then and with that, the borders then expand out from the population centres. So that's actually what's happened through there. The borders are a combination of development and population numbers. So if you've got like a small colony or something like that, then with very little resources, the expansion around that population centre will be very, very small. So that's sort of the way that one does work. But it's sort of like this one's now inside our sphere of influence, but it's right on the cusp. We haven't seen anything else yet through here with the Ikaru. We should be seeing their borders fairly soon. and that will then they'll give us an indication as to where they actually are. We've got a fair bit we can expand into here. All right, this all because we just let the game run. We've got to analyze all of this. New colonies and outposts. Okay, now what we've got through here is we now have a new system, but it only comes with the return of the Shakturi, which is the outpost aspect. So we've got outposts and we've got colonies. All of these are considered low quality. They need to be at least at 20 to make them viable, but we can, if we need to, establish outposts. Now, the reason outposts still actually drain your economy, so there's a cost to having an outpost. And the more inhospitable a planet is, the more it'll cost you to have an outpost on that colony. There may be some reasons to do it, but I can't see, none of these are sort of showing the like the star factors or anything like that that really make it sort of viable. We can have a quick look and sort of see 2 location bonuses. We're really not getting much there at all. It's not, that one's not worth it. Some of the planets will be. This one here is yeah, it's just not viable. That one there is not viable. None of these have got special reasons to do it. If we found locations, like some of the bonuses may make it worthwhile if there's like a global bonus, but really in this case there's just nothing that's really viable there. So it's with priority, suitability. Yeah, we can sort of sort by different things, and then we've got like the actual. We can then filter by the different types of planets. Suitability for Cormino is, we can sort of do it all sorts of different ways. It's really great what they've done with these filters now. These have been fleshed right out. So there's nothing there of interest to us. They're all the planets that sort of fall into it. Now, Tsar, back out through here, is outside the 150 range. To see what the range is, like we go to our closest population center, press Shift, which then goes into displaying distances, click, and you can see there it's 154 to there. So it's just outside the 150 that we chose, but this one in through here is 133. And so we can colonize this one here. That one's at 90. So these are inside that range. So we've sort of got the range in through there. Mark is in saying, concerning happiness, my first ever fort I worked on hard to keep every dwarf happy. I never had even a yellow emotion dwarf. Happiness makes a greatness. Yeah, there we go. So that's a dwarf fortress, of course. Yeah, so anyway, we've got the, so that's actually why we can't do this one. If we had like a really, really good planet out here that we wanted to go and get, the way that we've got our current colonization settings is that's too far away. But we could then create like one of the reasons to create an outpost would be to have like a cheapish way to then have extend the borders out for us to be able to then go and have this one within colonization range. But that would be sort of like, that would be the only reason. So at this point, or if we find a special ruins that is going to give us like a global, like a galactic benefit, then we'll do it that way. And sometimes even if you end up with like a resource that's super important, you may do it that way as well. So anyway, that's where we are. We've got the colony ships back in through here. Yeah, which we've got none. Of course, planetary facilities, we've only got the armor barracks. The artifact, this one here, is the Stele of Tactun. I don't know if we start off with this one. I can't remember actually how this one does work. So this is Stele of Tactun. It's a 3-meter tall pillar of haptic obsidian marked with indecipherable inscriptions thought to contain important details of ancient galactic history. Okay, this is one that we start with. The Cormino deeply revere the steel and have an overwhelming, almost traditional commitment to protect it. And so we start off with this one. What it is, it's an artifact that we revere. And so the bonuses, we end up with a plus 20% colony defense, plus 10% war weariness reduction, plus 10% ground defense strength. So you can imagine if this was taken, like in some sort of raid or something like that, it would be absolutely disastrous. To move the artifact to a nearby ship, base, or colony of your empire, first select the current location. So there's a way of transferring these around. So these are the various artifacts. We start off with this particular artifact, and so this one here just means that our home planet is even more important to us than ever before because of that. But we can transfer it if we have to. Right, that's the colony. So unfortunately there's nowhere new that we can go to just yet. Then we've got exploration. known ruins. There's only one way back out over through here, and it hasn't been investigated yet. Let's go and have a bit of a look at it. Just double click it. It's a carbonaceous moon. We know about the resources. Why haven't we investigated that? There's a ship there, right there. And we should investigate it. I'm going to send this explorer ship back. We've got another one that's still on the inside. That one's coming back to refuel. That one's actually still pretty good with its fuel. Let's go back in and just do a let's just go and investigate it. Where was it? It was in here. I'll just move to it. That will then make this on a manual. I'll just go back to fully automate, and then we'll just, I don't know why it didn't trigger last time. But we'll just go back there and just see if we can actually find out what, if there may be something in there that's worth grabbing as well. And what's the distance? If there is something, if we press Shift key, click on there, and that is just on the inside. So that's right on the inside of where we could actually then go and settle, if we do need to build a something else out that way. Okay, so that's that one. Abandoned ships and bases. We picked up that one ship that we found, and special locations. Nothing else in there, so that's all okay. Resources. Now we start off with just fuel and construction resources. Tidarius is not important. Most of these things will be okay. The ones I like to look at really are Caslon. We've got 3 of the 11 sources we know about. If we go and click on that one, we can see that there's a fairly good spread of Caslon around us, which is good. We certainly have core systems there with Caslon. So Caslon is fine. Steel will be all over the place. We don't need to worry about that one. Carbonite, we've got good sources there. That's always a hard one to find. Polymer should be about the same. Yep, we've got good sources there. Silicon, that was a shortage that we had, but we do actually have good sources. And what else is there that can be useful? That's about it, really. Hexadorum is way over through there. So we are getting some of that. That will be important, but not just so much just yet. Yeah, that's pretty good. Necros stone. We've only got the one source that we're mining, but we've got a fair bit of that around. Yeah, we're pretty good in terms of the resources. It's only Tidarius. Even that we've got close by for when we do need it. So they're all okay. Silicon we haven't started mining at all yet, which is unusual. Yeah, that is unusual actually. And we do have a production shortage of that one. We're actually going negative with this because we don't actually have a mining a mine on one of these locations. Let's go and have a look and see. Like we can we are doing a bit of a deeper dive. That's got good rates. 53% mining rate is a good one. Okay, I'm just going to go and I can't afford to build it. So the private sector has run out of money in the meantime. So this is a private economy expense. Well, let's go back and have a look at that, because obviously that's now become a bit of an issue. So the private cache is only 8,000. So we can't tell them we want a mining station there, because we do want a mining station here, but we can't actually get them to do it yet. They need to earn the money. So their money will be being drained away. We can do a bit of an analysis to see what's actually been happening in through here. They're still paying their taxes, which is important. They'll always do that. But then the maintenance savings, colony taxes, the fuel, the shipbuilding is still high, which makes me think that they're being destroyed. They're being attacked. So we'll find out. I think we're going to have to deal with these pirates very effectively. We're doing well, but the private sector isn't. And that's sort of unusual to see that, to be honest. Usually the private sector is fine. But that's stopping us from actually expanding, because they can't invest in the mining operations that we want to be doing. So it's a bit of an issue. I'll just get rid of that one. So that's the resources. Let's go now to luxuries. And what I'm really looking for here is, in fact, instead of production shortages, let's go to price. That way Do we know of any of the Caribbean spice, Centabia fluid or Loris fruit? These are game changers. We haven't come across these at all. The rest of it I'm not going to really worry about, so I'm just going to go and they're trying to make the devs are trying to make the resources more important. These luxuries, there's heaps of them, and they do impact the happiness of your colonies. But those top three are really, really important. Just go back to the fuel and construction, and then production shortage again. Just so we've got the defaults in through there. Mining locations, these are where we actually do have different mines. We've got a fair few around the place, which is good. I've got new mining locations back in through here. Again, we do actually have a construction ship is already going off to build something else there. It's funny, the silicon is not showing up as being important. There it is there. That's the one that we do want to be impacting. So if we can afford it, we can then just click on that one through that side. Mining ships, we've got a fair few, which is good as well. So this is private sector. They've invested very heavily in mining ships, which is good. So that's actually great. And then the fuel tankers, we've got a few different fuel tankers around the place as well. Okay, that's cool. Then we've got construction yards at the Elsa Spaceport. And they've got 2 construction yards on board that one, and there's 1 construction yard at Elsa as well, the actual planet. I'm just going to grab myself a drink of water, be right back. Now we'll get more and more of these over time, so we don't have to really worry too much about those. The construction yard locations, we've got construction ships, we've got 4 of those. Okay, they're building large mining stations. That one's refueling, that one's escaping some sort of monster, and they're building a research station. This is cool. Okay, so we'll get to that in just a minute, but it looks like we have found a research location somewhere. We've also got build orders, and we'll come back to use this one later on, like we won't do it just yet. Now we go to research. The only research we have is at the Elsa Spaceport. So the spaceport back in through here is the only source of, and so the research has been very, very slow for us. It has not been good. We've got new research locations, and this is an asteroid that we've found with plus 13% high-tech research, but it will then allow our scientists to then kick in as well. And so this one here, we actually do have a construction ship. If we double click on that one, this is the asteroid that we're trying to build around. And where is that? A long way off. That's going to be hard to protect. And we're going to end up with scientists out there. So, but this is important. This is the only one we've actually found that we can actually go and build at. So critical. This is a critical area for us. So this is something we're going to have to then try to protect as well. It'll become a bit of a target, I think, in wars, but also for the pirates. So that'll be something we'll have to then go and do. Hi Renegade, how are you going? I would like to see some mega structures in Distant Worlds 2. Sorry if I'm missing a lot of the comments, guys. Just do an @DAS tactic. It will then show up in red for me, but it doesn't beep at me like in Twitch. Twitch, I get a beep. Yeah, so Chris is saying, yeah, good call. I think Galaxy 4 is bringing that in. Yes, it is. Galaxy 4 is bringing in Dyson spheres and all sorts of things in a month and a bit time, I think. So Raven Path is saying, I wish data for my job was as easy to slice and dice as it looks in this game, says Raven's Path. Yeah, it's sort of they've done a good job of, like, there's a lot of information, like there's a hell of a lot. You can see it is a simulation more than anything. So Captain Hydra is saying Distant Worlds 1 is still better. I really don't see that anymore. Like not even when it launched, and even with the launch problems that it had, I still can't see it. 3D is fine, but the 2D of the first game was brilliant. It was good for what it was, but the 3D adds Fields of Fire. There's just so much more involved in this one, in my opinion. Yeah, so Crosshammy saying I can imagine Distant Worlds 2 will get mega structures at some. Yeah, I would think so as well. So Edward's then saying, Daz, can you play the Everglory demo later? Everglory, I don't know that one. Sorry, I'm not sure. I've actually don't have much time this weekend. That's why I thought I'd squeeze a stream in now. I can play for another hour, and then I'm going to have a rest, and then I've got another stream on the Slytherin Twitch channel, playing a different game. But yeah, and then I've got a lot on this weekend, so I won't be streaming all that much. Anyway, let's continue on. So that's good. At least we've got one, but we would like to have a lot more than just one. So that's hopefully we'll find others. So yeah, that's where we are with that one through there. This will then impact like how quickly we can then get what we need with our techs. The research bonuses. So we're getting high levels of bonuses with the with like the all research reactor, psychic research, and we're going negative with bio warfare, which is fine. That doesn't really matter that much. Then finally with the scientists, we've only got the 2 of them that are actually in there. Do we have any high techs? Shield, construction? No, it won't really matter. Whichever one ends up going out to that base to be the scientist on that particular base. All right, let's just go back to research stations again. And we'll now go to military. Now we've got, this is where we're going to have to just tweak things a little bit. So I'm going to redesign the ships and have a look at what they do. Really, until we get the bubble shields, I probably won't do them until we get bubble shields, I think. It's going to happen this year. So let's not involve ourselves with what's already been set up in here. And then we'll do it once we get the shields. Because at this stage, if we go to any of these ships, like this one's coming back in for repair, this is just a frigate, for example, it's just using deflection shield generators at this point in time. And once we get the bubble shields, it is a game changer for the Quamino. And at that point, we'll then have a good look at everything, I think. So let's not worry about it just yet. So we'll just let the AI do its thing. So I won't even get involved in the whole ship systems at this point in time. We'll just let it hold on for another year. Fleets, we've only got the 2, the defense and then the second fleet moving across. Troops, we've just got them being built on the home system. Admirals, we've got the Admiral commanding the 1st Defence Force. Defensive bases, nothing. Monitoring stations, nothing. New monitoring locations, nothing. Enemy targets, only enemy target we actually have. This is now new as well in the game. The way that you then can sort of queue up different missions against different locations. In this case, Eagle's Rest. The only thing we can actually do is blockade. We're not powerful enough to do the others, so we need to build that up. But we'll do that once we actually get the bubble shields done. Dangerous locations back and through here. So we've got different things where different attacks have come in. So we've got Vorticars out through here. We've got Gravelex is back in there. Pirates were attacking in these different locations. Another Gravelex back over there. Let's just go and leave that one. Then we've got the civilian ships, which we won't really worry about. Let's just unpause the game again and just let the game run forward. I'll just get rid of the civilians. There we are. Offer them a gift. Yeah, let's do it. But I want to get them really on side. They accepted our gift. Now this is, let's see what they've actually got. So they're thanking us for it. And they've now offered us a non-aggression treaty. So we're going to go with that one. We'll accept the treaty because that's sort of where we want it to be. A recent signed treaty has distracted our civilians. This is actually a problem. I forgot about this. The Quamino don't like treaties, but in this case, we do want to have a friend. So a recently signed treaty has distracted our citizens from their tasks as they become temporarily preoccupied with the new alien people. As a result, empire-wide happiness has increased, but research output has decreased. So we've actually dropped it. Not that it matters that much. And yes, we've got the distractions. I'm not sure why it's showing twice. Dismiss that one, and yeah, so I'm not sure why it presented twice, but anyway, that's because of that one. If we go back to diplomacy again, and they're up to 21 now. Yeah, so just releasing that prisoner and then giving them a gift has certainly helped a lot. Plus 21. Yeah, we like ultimately we're going to be able to do other things. I'm just going to never mind. Negotiate a deal. They're now going to do different things. The galaxy map is worth 16,000. They've got a few other empires that they've made contact with. I won't ask for that, but the galaxy map it would be worth a fair bit to us. Let's go to that one. Let's go and grab that. See what they know. We'll just pay for it, I think. Yeah, we'll pay 17,000 for it. That way we're not giving them, I don't want them to have the location of that research center until we've actually got it built. So let's just go and, what do you think of this deal? Yep, they accepted it. And so what this one will then, it'll show us where they are. And yeah, the more that we can interact. Oh, they're down here. Interesting. I thought they were in the north, but they're not. They're in the south. So we now actually have a location. We can now send our ambassador. So let's just go across to the character. And I'm going to make this one also not auto. I'm going to have it manual. And it can now go off to Permilio 4, the Icaru, and actually become part of what they do. And so that will then improve our diplomacy and the income with them. Just do the transfer. He'll get there in a year. Yeah, a bit over a year. All right, so that's fine. So that's all good stuff. We'll unpause. So that was good to see that one. We then also get to see everything else. Now, do we have any other? No, there's still. That's the only other research location that we've actually found. It now wants to build this one. Yep, we will allow that. Base rated. Just dismiss that. The pirates we're not going to deal with until we get the bubble generator. Yeah, this is now expanded out because of that treaty that we made. Oh, here we go. We've actually now found another one as well. All right, so that one we now do have. We want to get this one before the others get there. Yeah, so these are, it's fairly important that we get hold of these. Yeah, it's going to be very close as to who gets there first. We don't have any explorer ships, which makes me think that it's one of their explorers that's found that, but we do need to do this. Yep, so the Lonesome Memory. If we go back to our construction ships and just see where it actually is. So it's still back at home. It's going back. If I double click on it, or just click on it there, we're going to be sort of watching it come back through. And so it's now moving back in. If I just go and pick it up in through here. It's got nothing on its cargo areas. The other one, the Grand Whim, has got everything it needs to build the research station. Like everything is modeled in the game. Like if we just go across, if I click up in the top there, this is coming in just to finish off the construction of this one, which is great. So where do we get up to? Sorry guys, there's a lot of comments. So Devon saying, hey Dads, I'm a big fan of yours. Thanks for that one. I purchased this on your recommendation. What do you think the biggest difference versus Stellaris? Look, the biggest difference, to be honest, is, it's sort of one of those things that will do your head in if you think of it like Stellaris, to be honest. It's a completely different type of game. It's things like this, for example, like where every single ton of resources has come in. I might even just do a bit of a deep dive and show you what I mean by this. Like, so this particular research, I'll start at the start. The biggest difference is that this is a simulation game, simulation first and a game second. For Stellaris and Galciv and a lot of the others are more like a board game first and then a simulation after that. So the immersion is handled in different ways, which means you don't have to inject yourself very much in this game to have a lot of enjoyment because of the simulation. Now we can see this one's now coming in. It's got all of the resources on here. So I'll just pause it before it starts to build. It's coming in to build it at one of these asteroids. I'm not sure which one it actually is that's going to be building at. But one of these actually gives a research bonus. But in this case, this ship has had to go and pick up all of that equipment. And the reason it's had to do that, if we go back to back into here, to the ship designs, it's building a research station at this location. So if we go across to ship designs, and look at the, and this is another reason that this game just models everything in extreme simulation detail. So if we go to a research location, where are we? Yeah, so research station in through here. If I go and edit this and have a bit of a look and scroll down, to build this requires 181 steel, 44 polymer, etc., etc. All of those resources there come from what's on the ship. And so this one here ultimately ends up with a docking bay, a small starfighter bay. And when I hover over them, you can see there that the small starfighter bay requires 6 steel and 3 polymer. So that's everything is modelled. The countermeasures in through here as well. Like I'll see if there's anything unusual. So there's two shield generators in through here. They both use 4 argon and 4 krypton. And you can see there that the argon and krypton are a total of 8. And so they're only being used in the shields. So those 2 resources, if we didn't have argon or krypton on the ship, we wouldn't be able to build the base. It requires those to be able to build the base. So everything is modelled, and you can then design the things that go onto the actual base itself. So that's the design of the base. And if we had problems, let's just say we didn't have argon as a resource anywhere in the galaxy, we could then go back in and rethink how we handle this, like and get rid of the shield generators anyway. The argon's an easy one to find, but just as an example. So sometimes you'll end up with something a little bit unusual that you may be needing to build, and you can then go back in and redesign. And we'll be doing that as soon as we get these bubble shields, and then we'll redesign all of our ships. But in this case, the research station requires that just to be built. And see, games like Stellaris or Gal Civ abstract all the resources. In this game, if we have a look at argon as an example, let's go and step through what actually happened for them to be able to come out and build this research station. Stuff that we don't even have to get involved in, but the game does all this. If we go to resources and go to the actual resources in through here and go to argon, so we've got argon down through there. We've got 2 sources, 24 that we're aware of, but 2 sources of supply. And if we have a bit of a look at it, we should then be able to see, there'll be 2 of them that will have been built. We're not seeing any arrows. Like if we go to, for example, carbonite, are we seeing anything? And we've got a lot of these will be in our home systems. I think hexadorum was one that we don't have in our home system. When we have it outside of our home system, it will then show you what is being transported in. And so in this case, hexadorum, which we don't need on this base, is being mined at this location at the Pavonis system. We know that there's 6 locations. They're mainly through the Ikaru space. We have 1 location inside our territory that we've found. And so in this case, this particular resource is being mined from here. So we've got a mine. This mining station is mining the hexadorum. You can see it's only got 172 in through there. That can happen from a few different reasons. If we have a look at the planet it's coming from, the mining rate is only 13%, so it mines this at a very, very slow rate. So this is a source. This is a rare mineral that we require. It's a construction resource, but we don't need it on that research base. But what we have is when we went to argon as an example, just starting through there, we've got heaps of sources of it. We've only got 2 mines, and we're not seeing any arrows. So I can assume that we're actually mining. We've got 2 mining locations here inside our local system, including the actual planet right next to us. And so what's happening through here is this particular planet right next to where we are has got argon. It's an argon resource, and around this one is a mining station that only picks up argon. Now we've got 21,000 worth of argon on this mining station. This is not really this is a bit of a waste of having a mining base there, to be honest. And then from there will be all sorts of different freighters coming in. So this is like a cargo shuttle. I'll see if I can find some with some goods on them. This one's got passengers, cargo. Yeah, but a lot of these have got nothing. They're jumping off to transport cargo from one of the other mining stations. And we don't control these at all. They just go off and do their own thing. Yeah, so this one here is moving off to go to this particular station. This one here is coming in as well. In fact, this one is transporting cargo back to the spaceport. This one has picked up argon. This one is also an argon mine. And so it's actually now filled up with both fuel and argon, and is transporting that one back to the city, to the colony. It will then go back to the spaceport, and when it gets there, it will then offload at the spaceport, and then the actual resources will then end up on the planet. And so the planet has got its own set of resources. So all of those resources we see have to physically exist at the location, not just abstracted. So nothing is abstracted. And so you can see through here, these are what we actually have. So on hand, we've actually got 47,000 Caslon, which is the fuel on the planet, and our limited stocks. It wants to reserve 18,000 for what our needs are in the Empire, and it just looks after that for us. So we will try to reserve that amount just to keep, like, for mining ships to bring the goods back in. And if we have a look at Argon, we only need, like, the game is the game is sort of saying, hey, we only need like nearly 1,000 Argon to satisfy everything that is required, and then the Argon will then, but we've got nearly 4,000, so we've got more than enough Argon there. We've got more than enough Caslon at the moment. Most of these things we're actually doing very, very well. It is saying we've got 9 shortages, and if we scroll down through, we can see there that the shortages we have. We don't even need any Tiderius, and we've still got some of that. We're actually out of dilithium quartz. You can see that that's actually 0, and it wants 300. But we do have 2 sources of that, so that will actually fill up. But then as we come down into the luxury goods, this is where the resource shortages will be. Will be that we don't have enough of some of the luxuries that we have access to, and so there'll be some with 0 where we do actually have sources of these, and this will then improve the happiness. So this is like this is sort of like, in terms of the difference. Actually, someone's just saying, yeah, it makes you need to protect your supply lanes. Yeah, it's that important. Like, for things like if we start to rely on Hexadorum and we've only got the one source of it. Imagine in a war how important that mining station is, how important the ships that go there and pick it up if we rely on it. Things like that. And you will end up playing some games where you might only have one source of a common thing like polymer or carbonite, which you use on nearly everything, and you'll have very limited stocks of that. If we go to carbonite, we have found 12, which is unusual. Usually in the game there might only be like around where you actually are, you might only have 2 or 1 of those. And so in wars these become really, really important. You can also starve people by chomping away all of their fuel supplies and sort of starve them that way. So it's modelled. It really is almost like I'm thinking of like railway simulation type games where you're transporting goods from here and there. It does it under the hood, but it has to have it to work. If you end up with a planet that doesn't have one resource it needs to build a certain thing, it can't build it. If we go to build a ship here at the shipyard and tell it to go and build one, everything is available because we actually have all of the resources. But if we were losing any of the resources, we wouldn't be able to build it. And it's great the way that it does this. So in this case, everything is sort of is there while we've got these resources turned on. But to go back there again, there is one thing I did just notice there. When you first come in as well, like you can see the arrows, this is the main flow of everything because I haven't got anything selected. So there is some stuff coming back in, like there is a source in here where there is like a fairly big flow of goods coming back, and the pirates are now trying to interject themselves into that aspect. So the pirates are actually attacking. That's what that little ship is in through there. So we actually do have some pirate ships in around here, for example, which are we've got a mineral mining ship in through here, which is picking up a tandium opal, and it's being assaulted by by the Mighty Liberator. This is actually a pirate ship that's been taken. This is one of our ships that's been taken over by pirates, actually, by the look of the design. And so this is actually now coming in to attack that mining ship, and it's going to try to take over or sort of basically raid that mining ship. So that's sort of what's going on without us even really being aware of. Like we're not focusing on that. So there's a lot. Everything is actually simulated. It's not just abstracted. Money's abstracted, like up through here, but all the goods have to physically be at that location, and it sort of makes the game really engaging. Actually, sorry, the other thing I did want to show with that as well, just to sort of complete that picture, is when we do come back into here and we have a look at the mining goods in through here. We're talking about argon as an example. The next column across is reserved. It's certain things are being reserved. 8 argon are being reserved. Now we know that it takes 8 argon to build a research station, and we know that there's a research station queued up in through here as well, like this second one. And we also know that the ship that's actually coming to build that one, so the Lonesome Memory, has got no cargo. It has reserved the 8 argon plus everything else as for its building purposes to build that station. And so this particular ship is on its way in to the capital, and will then load up and then take that reserved argon. So that argon has been reserved for this ship to go and build that station. Again, we don't control any of that. It just does it all automatically. So our job is to keep the supply running, keep the spice flowing, etc., which is very, very cool. If we go and have a look at this other ship that is building back in through here to build this particular station, I'll just unpause the game. So it's now going to come in and start to build. When it starts to build, it then offloads all of the goods. The Dark Escort, that was that mining ship. So that's the mining ship under attack, which we can't really do anything about. It's just going to have to run. But it's an amazing game. Like, it's just like, this is the aspect of the game that just like blows my mind. The fact that it is a full simulation. Where every single, like that, the ton of argon the 8 tons of argon that we've got in there had to come from one of those 2 gas giants in our home system, had to be transported to the capital, and then had to be then put onto this construction ship and then moved out to this location. I'm not sure which one we're looking at through here. Which one are we building? At SZ558. That's it there. So this particular station has got 1 location bonus, which gives a 13% high-tech research bonus. And so it will then come in. We'll just watch what happens when it gets close enough to be able to build. It will then start the construction of the research centre. But it's just so deep. There we go. So it's now building. All that cargo has now been put in, and it's now starting to build these. When it builds anything in the game as well, by the way, like whether it be military ships or anything like that, it will always go through. You can see under construction 4%, and it's saying 13% there. That's the hull, the 16%, but the overall construction is only 6%. When we hover over this, what we'll see is it first has to build the hull, and so you can see there when we look at it, unbuilt, everything is unbuilt at this stage. There's nothing under normal, damaged, destroyed, or disabled. And so it will eventually it first has to build the hull. So the hull is the first aspect, which is that center column. Then the next outer one is the armor that it then goes and builds, and then finally is the shielding protection for what it actually is. And so in this case, it will just keep on building. It'll build pretty quickly. Once the hull is built, it can start to build the internals. The internals will then sort of be the things like the armor, but also all of the componentry. So even every ship, every build, like every base has actually got like a way that it has to operate as well. And so with the actual ships themselves, like we'll just wait until we actually get the bubble shields, but and then we'll redesign a ship. Everything matters. Like the resources matter with what you can build. What you build then impacts what the performance is. So assign mission, send that one to, I'll just assign the mission. Everything's on auto at the moment. I'll just let them continue on. So it's nearly built the hull. So once the hull is built, it will then start to build the components. So it's now at 99%. So hull is now built, and it will now start the process of building the internals. And we're now seeing that one of the weapons has been built. And if we go inside and have a bit of a look at it, we can actually click on the actual research facility and open it up and sort of see, like, until they're actually, until like this one here has been built, its status is normal, but the others are under construction. And we can sort of see what is like 62% for the Epsilon torpedoes. These are all at 0 at this stage. Still can't fire or do anything, but that's actually what that one's doing. So it's extremely detailed, but you don't have to worry about the detail. It just does its thing. Just make doubly sure we didn't actually set that one to do anything. Still on auto. It's important just to make sure that things are set to just automatically do what they're going to do. So that one's now going. Here comes the other constructor, which is a square. It's now got its 8 argon plus everything else it requires to go off and build in through here. And we've just got to hope we get there before these guys get there to start building. So that will be, so that little constructor is just moving off doing its own thing. Yes, it's trying to go and protect what's happening in through here, this defense fleet, but there's nothing much. It doesn't have a real lot of ships. So Raven's Path is saying, any suggestions on which of Dad's Tactics Distant Worlds 2 playlists to watch? I'd suggest the tutorial if you're sort of trying to get into the game. Like, that's still really relevant. There's a few changes now that have come in, but nothing much really, to be honest. That for me would be probably where if I was going to do it, I'd be starting there. I do tend to go into fairly deep dives, particularly with ship designs. If I play a typical game, I haven't done that in this one. I will. I'll finish off probably by redesigning all my ships as soon as I get this bubble shield. I'll explain also why this is important to me, the bubble shields here, because the like this is a bit of a game changer for the Quamino, and I'll explain how shielding works and why the bubble shields are just so important with what we actually have. In fact, I'll just let it go a bit closer, then I'll do it just before we actually get it. But that is something that's going to dramatically change how we then can compete against the pirates. At the moment, the pirates are too strong for us. We can just go back and have another look at this one. So it's being built. So we now actually have, we're still waiting for a couple of sensors. The general stuff inside is still being established. The armor has been built, but no shielding. We've done it, like the reactors are offline. We don't have the reactors working yet. So they have to be built. And then once this happens, the scientist that's back in through here, one of the scientists will then automatically, because he's on auto, will automatically transfer out to that location. If it then gets raided by pirates or someone else, they can then capture that one, build ships. Now this is actually, we've got a suggestion here to build ships. I'll just pause for a second. This is actually, there was a question yesterday when I was doing the live stream on the Slytherin channel, what to do like with this one through here. It's wanting to build a heavy escort and a frigate. Now I can just go and click on the build ships down through here, or I can just click up the top here where it's got advisors, oh sorry, click over through here on the actual button itself. What that will then do is it will then open up this tab over through here, the construction tab, and put them already in here, as in, yep, like let's go and build it, and all I have to do is click on purchase. So I can tweak very, like if I don't want to be building an escort, I can turn that off and then just, and like I can reduce it or even build more and then just go purchase if I'm wanting to. I'll just go with what it's suggesting at the moment until we actually get those bubble shields. So we'll just go and purchase those. They're now going to be constructed at the spaceport, and so that's sort of how that one is then working. If I go back, I think if I click it a second time, it'll still keep on going there. Unfortunately, it doesn't remember that you've actually done what needs to happen. So we'll just ditch that message. Yeah. So I'll pause this one. I was saying, yeah, there is a fleet role that harasses mining stations and infrastructure typically, yeah, and a blockade mission for yeah. So blockades are not just for fleets, for planets anymore. They are for mining stations and all sorts of different things. So you can do an awful lot aggressively. Raided our base. I took some credits. That's okay. It's mainly at the early start of the game. It's usually resources that are a problem. We've still got this happiness with all research being reduced by 20%. Which is a bit of a pain, but I just don't want to have. I want to have one good friend in the galaxy, and I think we'll use the Ikaru in that capacity. So you have to be careful about going into treaties with people. There we go. So just pause for a second. So the new research station has been completed. If we just go across to it, we just go to show me. And so this is now ready. It's now got, it doesn't have fuel as such, but everything is now going to start to operate from here. We're getting plus 13% high-tech research as well. We're at 98%, 31 days now before we get the bubble shields, so we might have a quick look at the research. Construction of a new research station has been completed at Grand Whim, so we'll dismiss that message. And then we have a message in through here, building the future. The recent construction of a new research station has improved a short-range boost to our Empire happiness, so we're getting a little bit more happy back in through here as well. Goes up by 5. Happiness again means money, and so that sort of translates to money in the simple ways. I'll just dismiss that one. We do have the mining stations. We're going to have to protect this one. This one, it may be dangerous out through here. If we go and have a look at the characters, they won't leave just yet, but one of them will. Yeah, there we go. This one's actually, they're both going out there. So both scientists are going to go out. This will then make them effective. So they'll actually both be out on that station, which makes it even more dangerous. So we may have to sort of protect it. But in this case, if we go back now to our research, and we go back to the actual research stations, you can see there our spaceport was only providing 20, and we only had like a maximum potential research of 45 previously. We're now up to 71, so we've pretty much almost doubled the research just with that one research station. And we do need to keep on building these wherever we can find them. These are very, very important to us. And so we've sort of been this is one area that we've been behind in. Let's have a now look at actual research itself. The research is set to be automatic unless I go in the middle of it. So at the moment we've almost got the warp bubble shields back in through here. What's important with these is if we go back to like at the moment we're using the advanced deflectors. On the left-hand side, we've got the deflection field generator for fighters. So let's just look at the other one on the right-hand side, the version 2s. And you'll see down through there, it's got things like iron damage defense, shield strength of 192. That's important to know. Shield penetration chance is 20%. What that means is that 20% of all damage coming in to a ship that's got these shields on it will get past the shield. Well, just basically, the shield won't do anything to really sort of to stop it. It will actually, though. You've got the chance is 20%. The penetration ratio is 50%. So 50% of the damage will bleed straight through the shield and actually hit the ship. And so this is actually important in combat to sort of understand what goes on with shields. This is why the bubble shield generator is so important for the Quamino. So we've got the 20% chance to go through. So 1 in 5 shots will get through and do 50% of their damage. Now, if you've got armor, it will go onto the armor and actually do the damage there. If you don't have armor, it will go straight to the hull and do damage to the components. So that's sort of the way it does work. And it's got then the recharge rate and then the in through there. If we go to the new ones that we're going to be getting, and again, if we look at the right-hand column there, you'll see that the shield strength is 340, which is a lot more than the 290 that we see, or 192 that we see there. It's almost double, which means that the shielding is dramatically higher. It's also then got the shield penetration chance is not 1 in 5, it's 1 in 20. So it means that the shields absorb everything almost. There's only a 5% chance of anything getting through. And then the actual ratio of damage is not 50%, only 35%. These are absolute game changers for the Quamino. These are incredibly important. You want to be protecting these if you can. And so we're going to get these in a few days. That's why I'm just waiting for these to come before I start to design anything, because it really is a game changer with the way everything sort of does work. Size is 20, which I think is bigger than these. These are size 15. So we do have a size problem. So we're going to have to sort of make other things work for that one. Yeah, Quamino love their bubble shields. They're incredible to go and get it and go with that one through there. So anyway, it's that 5% penetration chance. It's the shield strength of 340. Really improves the Quamino ships when they get the bubble shields. So anyway, that's the research. What I might just do is, I've got nothing else queued up. Let's go and queue something else up. One thing I like to do is to try to get the planetary governance. Let's go and grab that one next. We'll pay the costs and just queue that one up. We've got tests of merit there as well. Actually, that's not bad either. Yeah, that's a Quamino only thing. So let's go and grab both of those. We'll just queue them up. The first one sort of improves everything to do with your planets, which is very, very important. The next one improves our research ability. Okay, we'll exit research, and we'll just wait for this bubble shield to then come out. This one's now going to go back and do something else. It's now building another mining station somewhere else. If we go back across and go to new mining locations, let's just see if we can get hold of that other one. Yeah, we can now afford it, so I'm just going to queue up a mining station for that silicon mine that we don't actually have. So we now have the base. The scientists are now transferring across to the base. And we've got the other one now coming in. That's an explorer. This guy's still on his way. Now it's a long way out. Alright, I'll just pause here. So hard energy experiments have now been researched back and through here, so we've now got our bubble shields. We've got a new scientist who's now appeared as well. Because of the research breakthrough, it sort of invited another one back in. New research is now complete, and we should have the escort complete as well. There we go. So they're all sort of now been done. Right, so now we've actually got the bubble shields, we can start to sort of do other things. We're now going to look at the planetary governance. We'll have a quick look at that other character that's just come in. So we've got Tala Makuru. Don't know any of his skills just yet, so that will be helpful. Right, so to design the ships, now you don't have to do this, the game will do a good job of it. If we go in and start looking at the actual designs, excuse me, and the ship designs in through here, we'll find that certain things, for example, like the, where is it? The escort, see how there's 0 of them? Because it's just been redesigned. It literally, like we're 2 days in since we've actually got the bubble shields, and as soon as we got them, they've redesigned nearly everything actually to make use of those bubble shields. And so most things are going to have 0 of the new design. So we can just go and edit those if we wanted to, but I think we'll actually go and replace them. So you can see that we've got heavy escorts and escorts. There should be a patrol escort there as well. We can see like exactly what ones we do actually have if we're really interested, but I think we'll just start from scratch and just build everything up. So this is a bit of you don't have to do this, and I'd probably recommend if you're new not to bother and just let the AI design away, because that will, if we go and have a look at this particular ship, it will have now designed, like if we go to the heavy escort for example and edit it, it will come in with the warp bubble. It's got the warp bubble generator, but also we now have bubble shields in here as well. So it's actually now replaced the old shield with that one, and it's then just rejigged things to make it fit in the actual design. So we've actually still got a fair bit of size left over here. Let's just go and cancel it. The easiest way to do an update is you have to make sure that the hull upgrade isn't set to automatic, and you do that either by clicking on it and changing it, or by doing an upgrade, a manual upgrade, and that will then, when you do a manual upgrade and then save it, it will then change that automatically to manual. So that's sort of what happens in through there. Now, all of the different designs that we actually have, to see what's actually going on through this one, we've got the active buildable designs. I can go to all designs that we've got anywhere and just see the numbers of ships. Like we've got 39 of these cargo shuttles, for example. If I go to state ships as an example, so we can just see the combat ships, we've got 6 of the Rurek 2 frigates. So we can sort of see what's actually been done. There is a frigate back in through there as well. This one was set to manual retrofit. This is the one that we picked up. This is the very special ship. If we go and, I don't know if we can actually have a look at that one if we edit it. This is the one that we found. And so it doesn't want to be updating this one. This has got very advanced stuff that we don't have yet. So it's already set up beyond our tech levels. And so it doesn't want to be retrofitting this particular ship. So this one is actually, is like a special ship that we have that we found in space. And so it will know not to do that one. We'll just go and cancel that one there with the Erto. So this one here does not retrofit by default because we actually found it. So we can tell it to, we can click on that one and make it automatic, and it will then go and sort of go worse and make itself so that it's not as powerful. But in this case, the that one we can't build that one as such. But we can see there that we've got like the Rurek 2. If we go back and edit this one particular one, we can't save this, but we can see there this has got the 2 deflection shield generators. It's still had extra space, so it would have just then the next one would have kept everything else that was actually there, and would have then gone to the Rurek 2 and edited this one and just put in bubble shields. And that's the only change there. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to latest buildable designs per hull with state ships. I like to sort of set them so that all of the escorts are together by clicking on roll. So it just makes it a bit easier to have a bit of a look to see what's going on. I like to analyze each of the designs first. So if we just go into the basic escort, is it worth it? Probably not. But if we go and have a quick look at the edit, for example, if we have a look at the edit for this one, we've got you can see there's only 2 weapons, and they both fire forwards, and they've only got 180 degrees field of fire. This, for me, is why this game is now so much better than what Distant Worlds 1 was, because of the fields of fire are really important. So we can't protect anything from behind with these ships. We can only sort of really shoot ahead. We do actually have up to medium size, which is 39, so it's not too bad. It's only got 1 shield area, 1 armor as well, 2 sensors back and through that other side, and then whatever we can sort of fit in the middle there. The Nova Core reactor is an incredible reactor as well for the Quimino. So the Quimino have got like a lot of really good equipment that we end up getting, and the reactor is incredible as well. So that one is probably a bit underdone, but we do actually, in this case, we've just got the two mediums at the front there. Let's just cancel that one. Just go across this one. Just have a quick look at the. This is the heavy escort. And so in this case, again, we've only got the 2 weapons. Was this the... hang on, let's just cancel that. That's the patrol escort, sorry. We'll just edit that one. It should have more weaponry on the other one. In this case, the patrol escort, again, has just got the... it's very similar, but it does have an extra weapon, slot there for engines, so it's very fast. That could be useful, so that's actually something worth considering, but we've only got the two medium slots there again as well, so we'll just cancel that one. Then we go back to the heavy escort. Again, this is not something you need to do if you don't want to be doing this one. We now actually have a 360 at the top, so we actually now have a different weapon, and that's also a medium. So we've actually now got like a bit of a better design through here. Only got the 2 engines. If we have a look at the actual speed of the ship, it's got a... where else? Yeah, they've only got a sprint speed of 57, which is very slow. This is really slow. We want to be around 70, would be what we'd be wanting. So, but is it worth it to have a field of fire of 360 degrees? This will typically be point defense, and it is. It's got a buckler repeating blaster, point PD, point defense, back up in that role. What's the size left over on this one here? Yeah, we've still got a fair bit of size here if we do want it. It's just so slow, and even though it's showing, I wish they'd ditch these on the designs that can't make use of it. This one can only use 2 engines. It's got 3 there because the patrol escort uses 3. So if we cancel that one and go back to the patrol escort and edit it and have a bit of a look and see what its speed is, it's 92. So it's dramatically faster. And so for an escort, what it doesn't have is the point defense. And that's it doesn't have one of the weapons, which means that essentially, if we ignore the point defense weapon, we need 2 of these traveling really fast to be able to then sort of match the firepower of one of the heavy escorts, sort of. So I'm going to cancel that. Let's have a look at the frigate, because I have to work with the frigates, and that's really all we're looking at. It's just these different designs. The frigate also, it's got a 180 there and a 180 over here, but they're actually, it's even more than that. It's 225 degrees, 225 degrees, with a 225 at the top and then another 225 there. So it's a better design. We do actually have a large mount at the front, and then we have 2 mediums and a small. This top one is a small. It still can't fire behind, so point defense may need to be one of these, which is sort of not great, to be honest. So I'm thinking we do need the point defense on the escorts. What's the speed of this ship? 74. That's about where we want to be. It's about where we want to be. Yeah, it's a trouble. The trouble is that the other ones at their 50, the other escorts that can use point defense, are not really ideal. What we can do is mix and match, and actually maybe we do that. Maybe we have some escorts that are offensive, and we have escorts that are defensive, and we just try to do the best with each of those. And so we use the heavies for defensive roles, and we use the patrol escorts for offensive roles. So let's design all of those up. So we're just going to go back and cancel this one for now. I'm going to go back to the main escort we're not going to use. I'm still going to make that one manual just so it doesn't get built. The patrol escort, we're just going to go across, and I pretty much won't change much here. I'll just have a quick look at the weaponry. I'm going to do an upgrade. And so this will be the fast escort is what I'll call this one. And so this will be mainly, because of its speed, it will be able to be a fairly offensive ship. I'm going to ditch this one through here and just put on actual offensive weapons, but no point defense. We'll get rid of the Maxos blasters as well. Now we've got a countermeasure system through there, and we have a short-range sensor array. So let's start down the bottom here. We have different things we can do. The short-range sensor array is for general ships that really are just out and about, escorting other ships, but not actually really as part of a fleet. So we don't really need this. This is sort of more for a bit more of a broader sweep. So let's ditch that as well and have a look and see what we've got. We've got the countermeasures system, which is useful. It protects the ship. We have the short-range sensor array is what we took off it. We've got target tracking, which then improves our targeting by 15%. And we have a trace scanner, which improves targeting by 5% and does give us a little bit of extra things as well. The damage, the weapons damage increased by 5% there. I think we just go with a trace scanner. Like this is actually, it's only 5 as well. So we can actually throw that one back in. Still get a little bit better targeting. We do actually have a scan power of 100 versus, if I click on that one there and just hover over, we can see the difference between the short range and the trace scanner. So the trace scanner, we get targeting of 5% with the trace scanner, one more than what the other one was. The scanning power is the same, but the actual scanning range doesn't have any range with the trace scanner. The power goes up though, and the trace scan range goes up. Yeah, I don't know. It's the other one does have jump tracking as well, so we can sort of see the directions that the other ships do leave in a little bit more effectively. The other one does have countermeasures, actually of +2. Actually, it is better. It is better overall. The target tracking gives us the 15. You know, I think I'll just keep the short range. I didn't realise it actually had its own countermeasures as well. So we'll leave the trace, sorry, not the trace scanner, we'll leave the short range sensor array. We'll put that one back in there again. So we'll leave it the way it was. That's interesting, actually. It looks like they may have tweaked things because I don't remember that having the countermeasures before. So we'll leave that one in there. The bubble shield, actually one thing I do like to do is just filter this one by the latest per category and family, and then set this one up to also then sort by bay type, category, family and size. It just makes it sort this out a little bit more readily for us. We only see the latest things that we can then make use of. Now if this is going to go really fast, which is what the 3 engines in through here, and we've got 1 Nova Core reactor. We've got 2 Nova Core reactors. That's overkill for us. The reactors, we only need 1 reactor, so let's ditch one of those, get rid of those. So we've got an extra space in through here. What's our fuel range? The fuel range is 246, which is pretty low. So we could put extra fuel on if we had to. Let's think about the weaponry to start with, and then we'll figure it out. The one reactor will satisfy our needs for the hyperdrive. So that's actually 1 reactor is all we need there. And again, you can just let the AI do this. Now we've got up to 39 size there. We've got Thil-1 beams, medium Thil-1 beams there. I like these as just a general weapon. Like they're pretty good. We also then have torpedoes, which are a little bit bigger. These are 30. These are 28s. Let's throw 2 of those on and see what we end up with space-wise. Yeah, we've still got heaps of space. So I can put in the Thuon beams. I can actually put in the Epsilon torpedoes as well. So if we have a look at the Thuon beam versus the Epsilon torpedo, they've got differences that they do. The Thuon beam doesn't have any shield bypass or armor bypass. The torpedo does worse against shields, but does bypass armor. They can be quite useful. The damage per second on the torpedo is also higher, and the range is also higher. Maybe we'll throw in a couple of Epsilon torpedoes in this case. So let's go and do that. Just throw two Epsilon torpedoes. And again, if we're going up against ourselves, like Quaminos, with the bubble shields, and actually we are, no, we're not. We're going up against Boscarans. So I think we're actually okay here. So if we, so this will then should be able to bypass the pirate shields fairly effectively, because it'll be about a 1 in 5, so around 1 in 5 chance of bypassing, and then doing damage to the actual ship itself. Now we still actually have one more slot through here. Do we need this? Do we need the extra range? Okay, at the moment we've got a fuel range of 232 now that with the weight coming in. If we just go back up to the fuel cells, if we add that fuel cell into that empty spot, we then go up to 342, or we put in something else like an assault pod, because we're going to have a lot of these. What does that do if we do that? There's no warnings, so we've got enough crew capacity even with that. So we could actually do it that way and actually have like a landing group like Marines on board, but I think we'll go fuel cell. And now the next thing is the tactical settings. What we're going to do with these is we're going to go to, the default will be same system, that's fine. Attack stance against weaker targets will be aggressive. Against stronger targets will still be aggressive. I want these in close. Retreat when, and I want them to retreat when the shields are below 20% or armor below 50%. That way we will actually, should be able to escape. Then we're going to have invade colonies immediately, which won't really affect us. Position within the fleet. I'll do these ones as a close escort, and that's it. And then we'll just go and save an exit. So fast escort is the name of this particular one. You can see it's now manual, back and through here automatically. Let's go to the heavy escort. This will be a defensive escort, so we'll just go and upgrade, and heavy escort, sorry, defensive escort. So in this case, the role for this one will be, it's a slow ship. It will, it's got everything it needs down the bottom there. That's actually okay. It's only got the 2 engines. We can't do any more than that. It's got 2 Nova core reactors. We know that we can get rid of those, so that still satisfies what we require. In terms of weapons, I'm just going to ditch all of these, and we'll just put on what we require. So with the weapons, we've got the 360 at the top. Definitely want to put in a point defense system there. So that will be WINs. So the Sentinel multi-beam is only 11. The buckler, if I click on that one and hover over that one there, I tend to like the Sentinels, to be honest. So the Sentinel weapon is usually a good one. It's got better range. So let's go and place a Sentinel back in that middle slot. So it's now got that one there. In terms of what it can then do from the front, I think I'll still just leave it with, I might just put Thuon beams on this one, just so we've got a point of difference between the different types of ships. And I wonder if we don't use even more point defense here. And just throw them on there. That's still actually within the range, like within the size. You just go and grab the fuel, will also now be a problem. Yeah, it's very slow. Fuel range, let's just go and get the fuel cells. We won't worry about capturing ships at all with these. Alright, so that'll do us for the defensive escorts. It's sort of, they're slow. Geez, we want even more. No, I think I'll keep it there with the 2 Thuon beams. Let's just save and exit. And then finally the frigate is the only other one we have to really upgrade as well. And In this case, we do actually have one extra slot back and through there. The weapons, sorry, the speed is good, so we'll keep them where they are. We've got target tracking, we've got countermeasures and sensor arranged. This is good, like that's actually pretty cool. We've still got, we've only got the one Nova core reactor on this anyway, so it's just slightly off. We just don't quite have the energy requirement for what's required there. The static, if I get rid of the, get rid of that, yeah, this then now brings it in if I get rid of those. So if we get rid of Naxos blasters, with the different weaponry that we have, I'm thinking of, again, of just, I'll start with Thuon beams and just see what actually happens with this. Yeah, it goes a long way over because these chew up energy. Get rid of the buckler. The buckler repeating blaster also does have an energy requirement. The interceptor missiles don't have as much, I don't think. I don't think I'll worry about that though. Point defense cannon. If I throw that at the top, so this is just be a little cannon. You can see we're under. It won't matter that much, to be honest. Let's not worry about it. Like it's just going to slow us down a little bit in space. So I think I'll just use Thuon beams for the rest of them. It'll just give me more firepower. And we're just slightly over with this. So we just got a point defense cannon there. We really don't have much. Actually, that, yeah, Thuon beam there. We're a fair way over. It just means that our hyper speed will be 165 rather than 200. So we are going to be a little bit slower with that hyper speed. If I ditch one of those and put another Nova core reactor, I mean, we're well and truly over. You're up to 200. I don't think it's worth it for the sake of the fuel range. 217. It makes it sort of harder for us to operate. It's only going to be the actual speed in hyperspace that's going to be a problem. So we can deal with that one. If we go in with these beams, the Thuon beams, they're sort of just good all round stuff. When you've got ships that aren't great at things, they're pretty good in that regard. And I do want them to be getting in and doing things. Maybe we'll change up the this one here, and can we get anything bigger? Got a surge blast in there if we really want it. Look at some of the others. Missile we don't really want. The surge blast does a lot of damage, but we're going to be impacting everything else as well. So I think we'll just stay back to, and maybe just put like another Epsilon torpedo in that first mount there. So actually, we've now got one defect. Are we oversize? Yeah, by a long way. By a long way. How did we do that? It's by so much. We're running 450 there. That's weird. The Thuon beams there. Oh, they've been using smalls. That's what they had originally. So they've been using small weapons. That takes us right to 450 there. If I go and change the smalls, which these are like doubles, like it's like we've got two weapons on in each mount. If I just put small Thuon beams on the side, and then ditch this one and grab a no, I still need to have just the medium Thuon beam there, just to end up right on the 450. So this takes us right to the actual limit of what we can then go and do. See if there's anything else we can take out of the core area of the ship. I don't think there is. So yeah, we're pretty much stuck with this one here. So we'll just call this one I'll just call this one just a frigate. That will then work. Okay, so we'll save and exit that one. Now that sort of gets our basic ships. Oh, hang on. Still need to go back in and just edit these, because we need to change this to aggressive. That one's going to be aggressive as well. This one will be 2050s. And save and exit, and we need to just do the heavy escort as well, the same way. Edit is going to be aggressive. This just dictates how close they go into fight. And we'll save and exit that one. All right, so now what we can do is we've now got the heavy escorts, we've got the fast escorts as well. And so we're going to set up our defensive fleets. Now at the moment we've got like two different types of fleets going in. Let's just go back across into here now. Go to fleet templates. So we're using the defensive fleet here with 7 ships in it. So we're just going to go and edit this one. And we're going to change this one. We don't have any destroyers, so we'll ditch that one there. We don't have any cruisers. We're going to add in 3 frigates of the design that we've got is probably okay initially. Let's go into the different escorts, and we'll get, say, 3 of those. And we're going to add another one as well with 3 other escorts. So that'll give me 9 ships in total inside a defensive fleet. So what we want to do here is the latest design for the hull frigate. That way we always use the frigate designs. Then we're going to use 3 of the ones that for the hull patrol escort and 3 of the hull heavy escort. So that gives us the 2 different types of escorts in the fleets themselves. And so that we now have 9 ships per fleet that we then need to sort of operate with. Fleet engagement range, this is our default. So defensively, 50M is good. I quite like that, to be honest, but I think I might just make it the same system as our defaults for all the future fleets that we then make, and that will be enough. This is a great system, by the way, for controlling all of your fleets. So with that one done, we've got 1 defense fleet, and we also then had I think we had a raiding fleet as well. If we just go back out and have a look at this one through here, it might have been an attack fleet, which is sort of like your basic fleet. I think I'm just going to stick with defensive fleets initially. So let's only really worry about those. So what we're going to do is we've got 2 fleets. We've got this one through here. Let's just go back to these ships so we can sort of see the actual ships. And so we've got this particular fleet is the 1st Defence Force. Because the fleet template is a defence fleet, it's now wanting to actually have more ships come into it. So at the moment we've got like the Overwhelming Shield, plus we've got a couple of other frigates. So we've got 3 frigates already in there. We need to supplement this and build it up. So because we've given it the fleet template, we can then just go across to top up the fleet with ships. And anything that's not in a fleet, you can see there, this Forceful Dictator, for example, that's a frigate. To see if there's any other escorts. That one's an escort there. So these ones potentially will then sort of fill up, but we'll just go and top up with ships. And no, it's actually what it's doing is it's actually replacing all of them, including the one that was the prime mover of the actual fleet itself. So it's actually it's topping them all up with new ships that it's now queued up to build. But the ship that was there before, the one that their most powerful ship, I still want that one to be part of it. I can just go back in and add that one back in. So let's just go and join ship to the fleet, to the 1st Defence Force. So it's back in there. Now if we go back to, now we have to do a bit of micromanagement. If I click on F, if I click on F, I cycle through the fleets. I'm going to make this one control group number 1, and then press F and make this one control group number 2. And again, this is going to ultimately be, this is an attack fleet. I'm going to make this into a defensive fleet. So it's now defense. Its role is still attack, which I'm actually happy enough with at this stage. But the actual template we're going to use is defense, and we're just going to top this one up as well. And so it's now topping that particular fleet up with other ships. And so it will now queue those ones up and build them up. This one's already got the frigates. It's already got a couple of the heavy escorts. And so we'll establish that one through there as well. If we go back to the first fleet, and we do actually have the Admiral on board the Overwhelming Shield, but the discarded Bastion is now the flagship for it, which is being built. So I need to change this. I want this one to be the flagship yet again. So if I go back into here, if I go to the actual Overwhelming Shield, if I just do a long right click, actually no, it's not going to do it there. I go to it there. I should be able to now set it up as the actual, so where is it? It's in space here. If I do a long right click, set the ship Overwhelming Shield as the lead for the fleet, the First Defence Force, and so it's now the main ship for the fleet. So it's back in charge again, which is what I want. So if I now just go back and click on the first, Overwhelming Shield is the leader, and our admiral is commanding from that particular fleet. So a bit of micromanagement. I'm looking at the time. I do have to now get going. If I unpause, they will now start to come back, and I can just double check and see what their tactics are. They're still set to 50M range. I'm going to make it same system. That's okay. Second fleet, I'm going to make that one. I'll make that one 100M range. Is that, no, it doesn't improve the other one. I'll make it 200M, which is essentially half. If I go to 50% fuel range, even that's too small now. Yeah, I'll make it 200M. That way they can still do what they're going to have to do. So when we get these built, we're going to be able to start to take on pirate ships. So we'll sort of we'll start to sort of work that one through. But I am actually out of time, guys, and so I'm going to have to leave it here. But that was a fun way to start the game. Actually, it was pretty cool. I did enjoy that. That one's still heading off to build. So I'll leave it here. I'll probably come back in a few days' time and continue on. So Alexander saying Distant Worlds 2 manual, 106 pages. What is your thoughts on the manual? I haven't looked at it for a long time. So yeah, late for the man, Daz. Yes. Well, I've actually got to go, and I've got a stream coming up in an hour on the Slytherin channel. So I'll be over there. I just wanted to have a bit of a break before I go and do that one there. So I like that start too, says half-axed. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Actually, I hope it's in an hour. Maybe it's not. I better double check it. I'm not sure when daylight savings finishes in the UK. I better leave right now, guys. Thanks for watching. I may be late for my other stream. Thanks for watching.